Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of 3 Point Weekly. We are recording this after a busy draft night and a few trades leading up to it. And we're going to start there with the trades where Christian Wood was the first domino to fall, where he was sent to the Dallas Mavericks. Rudy Gobert was the center that was rumored to go there, but Christian Wood ends up being the piece that gets moved for what was many considered to be surprisingly low value, as seemed to be a theme in trades this week. But we'll get to you first, Tyrik, who unfortunately saw his Boston Celtics lose in the finals. Congrats to the Golden State Warriors on that NBA title.
Yeah,
But we'll
congrats to the
start with the Christian
Warriors.
Wood trade.
Yeah, the wound's still kind of open, but yeah, congrats to the Warriors. My first reaction was I like the trade. I think his fit offensively is good. I saw a lot of people comparing it to like Porzingis, but I think Christian Wood's a little more different of a player. So I think the fit's going to be a little more smooth. He's going into a contract year, so he'll probably be playing his best basketball. That's why I wasn't worried about people being worried about the defensive side of the floor. Because I feel like when guys know like they're about to get paid and they got to play their best, they're going to go all in on defense. And Jason Kidd's also building this culture of a defensive-minded team in Dallas, so I don't think that's going to be too much of an issue. I love how they didn't have to give up anything to get him, and I think that's kind of setting the market for other trades. I know we'll get to like the Jeremy Grant move and stuff like that, but I think it's showing that guys' value is not what we thought it was. Like they got him for like a mid to late first round pick and 4 contract fillers, like 4 guys that are not even going to play probably for the Rockets. So very good trade for them. The Rockets obviously just wanted another pick in, so I think they got what they wanted. And yeah, I think it's exciting. It makes Dallas a little better. We'll see what they do with the rest of their offseason. But just another guy that can, get buckets, which I think they definitely needed as that postseason went on. And the duo of the White Powell and Maxi Kleber is just, it's not good enough. So you had to upgrade somehow. I think this is a solid pickup for sure.
Yeah, really on the Rockets side, I think they were just probably a little bit late to the party on getting him out the door. I mean, he probably could have been out a while ago. I think he was kind of probably disconnected a little bit. He played, but timeline's kind of passed him. And so obviously what he signed up for was not what he got playing there. And just a weird situation overall. But, I mean, the Rockets out of it, I mean, they got Boban, who might be like a solid locker room presence for them, Then that 26 pick ended up being Wendell Moore, who he was really good at Duke. So, I mean, he might end up being something. You never know. But, I mean, yeah, beyond that, it's kind of just moving some things around and not a ton back, but maybe something that can develop.
Yeah, for sure. Like you say, it's just a first-round pick for a team that's just trying to continue to acquire more young talent. Obviously, as we'll talk about more later, the value just isn't there as high as we thought it was for selling teams right now. But I like the fit of Christian Wood in Dallas. Like you mentioned, Tyrik, I don't think Christian Wood is any bit comparable to the fit of Porzingis in Dallas. 2 very different players from how they play on offense. Porzingis is either shooting threes or is very post-touch heavy. He's one of the heaviest post-touch players in the league. He needs his own touches and ISO situations, which isn't as common for Christian Wood, even though he does put up a lot of points. A lot of it is as a very good cutter, as a little bit of a pick and pop or pick and roll guy. He can get some offensive rebounds. He doesn't have possessions anywhere near as much as Porzingis, where you need to focus on just getting Christian Wood the ball and letting him do his work. You can still let Luka run the flow of things. It'll be a much more free-flowing offense compared to with Porzingis. It's another scoring option for Luka to take a little bit of the weight off of him, and it makes those pick and rolls that much more effective. It allows Luka to have that much more gravity, to have more playmaking, whether that is to Christian Wood or the shooters. So I think it's going to be a really good fit there offensively. Obviously, as you mentioned, Tyrik, there will be some defensive concerns, but Jason Kidd's done a good job with that group, and they overperformed a lot from what I expected from them defensively this year. So I wouldn't be too surprised to see that continue. But ultimately, from an offensive standpoint, it's a really good fit. If you bring Brunson back, you have Brunson, Dinwiddie, Luka, and Christian Wood. There is a lot of guys who can go out and get a bucket at any point in time there, not to mention whoever you also have spacing with Finney Smith or with Reggie Bullock or with Maxi Kleber. That's a really nice offense they got going there. I think it's a much better fit than Porzingis, and I think it's a really risk-free trade with how little they had to give up.
Yeah, just to piggyback on some of those points. He's also like a decent lob threat. Like it kind of feels like a distant memory, but the 7 or so games he played with James Harden, those 2 work really well together. And Luka is a similar type player, likes to use the pick and roll, likes to throw the lobs. I think Christian Wood could thrive in that too. And he's also somebody who, like, you can legit put the ball in his hands at the top of the key and he can create. Like, he can create for himself, which is something that I just think Dallas really needed because they were asking a lot out of Jalen Brunson to be the true number 2 guy. Spencer Dinwiddie, asking him to produce a lot. That's just asking a lot for guys that, maybe aren't ready to be second and third options on championship caliber teams. So I do like this move a lot, especially like how you said they just didn't give up really anything to get them. And then in the draft, I mean, they traded out of the first round, but then you're still able to get a first round talent in Jaden Hardy. That's a hell of a move right there. Like the upside on that pick, I think like we might look down the road in 2 or 3 years and be like, how in the hell do we let the Mavericks pair Jaden Hardy with Luka Doncic? Like we could be looking at that as one of those picks. So, I think they did a good job so far in this offseason. Jalen Brunson is obviously the next domino to fall because teams are going to be offering him a lot of money. The Knicks probably being one of those teams. But if they can retain him, as long as you don't have to overpay to keep him, you still have Tim Hardaway coming back. Maybe you can trade his contract if you don't want to bring him back. Or even if you do bring him back, that's another 3-and-D type player to have on your team. So it'll be hard for the Dallas front office to really go into next season and not be a better team than what they were this year.
That's saying a lot. I mean, when you're 3 games away from the NBA Finals and you only get better, I mean, even with Luka's 23? And so it's like
4, I think.
He technically is not even in his prime yet. And so as they just continue to progress and get a little older, get a little further down the process, really, I mean, I don't know if there'll be a finals contender next year with some teams that might look to bounce back. And especially I don't see the Warriors going anywhere. And if anything, the Warriors might continue to get better as well. So I'm really not sure if it pushes them over the hump, but definitely heading in the right direction. So good things to see for them.
What I like is like they're making moves to get better, which is a good sign. Like we saw the Hawks last year, they got the taste of the conference finals. They were a couple games away from the NBA finals, and it seemed like they didn't make the necessary moves to get better. They just thought, well, we had this core. If we just add a small piece here, we'll be better. Now, sometimes when you're that close and you're a young team, you still have to find ways to get better. We see the Grizzlies never stop making moves. Now the Dallas Mavericks are doing the same thing. These teams are trying to get better because they don't want to just be good, in the next 5 years. They want to be able to compete for a championship right now. So I like the moves that they're making. I like the moves that the Grizzlies are making because they're trying to capitalize on the success that they have already had.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. And quickly to piggyback off that point with James Harden playing with Christian Wood. Christian Wood has played his best basketball when he's had a good playmaker, whether that be James Harden or even just to a lesser extent when John Wall was still playing a little bit. He's looked very good with a good playmaker and not anywhere near as good without a good playmaker. So Luka Doncic in the backcourt alongside Christian Wood, I think is going to be a very fun pairing. Not shortly long after the Christian Wood trade in this week, we then saw Jeremy Grant get moved, unsurprisingly to Portland, but unfortunately to many Detroit fans, there was hope that they would get the number 7 pick back, and they ended up getting the later first-round pick from the Milwaukee Bucks in 2025 as opposed to that. So obviously not the value that many people had expected for Jeremy Grant. That's kind of where this theme is heading now, where players might not have as much value as we had anticipated this summer, and is obviously clearly why we're not NBA GMs, because we have no idea what we're talking about half the time. But nonetheless, Portland start their retool the summer around Dame and add Jeremy Grant.
Want to go ahead, Gabe?
Yeah, I mean, really, the fact that he got moved for that little was just such a surprise. Like, the fact that they've held off on possibly trading him for so long, I feel like he's been in trade discussions for quite a while. It's just really strange to see them finally pull the trigger now and just for a late pick to a team with the best player in the league. Like, I mean, when you're getting a pick from the Milwaukee Bucks, it's like that might be like pick 29. And so I think they moved up 10 spots in this draft as well. And so it's like, okay, if you want to continue to stack now, but I don't know. It's like, if you were going to wait this long, I feel like you should have just waited for the right deal at that point, because it's really not that much. However, to just say, besides what you got back, besides the return, just from an internal standpoint, I think it opens up more space, because now I think you have a really nice young core of them having Cade, just added Jaden, Ivey, Sadiq Bey, and you just added Jalen, Duren. Marvin Bagley's also on the roster, and he showed a little bit of flash last season. It just opens up more touches, more minutes, and just a lot more overall opportunities for the rest of the young guys. So from the internal perspective, I do kind of like that they moved off of him at this point.
Yeah, I guess I'll start with Detroit first because that was like my first reaction too. Like damn, that's all they got back for Jeremy Grant. Like he's not a bum. Like he's still a pretty good player. He'll probably be like right now the number 2 guy in Portland. But then the more I thought about it, I listened to some people give their takes. I think it's more so for cap flexibility. Maybe that's why they don't want to bring in another top pick or another first round pick this year. Because maybe they want to stay flexible, man, because they are tied to a lot of names in this free agency class. DeAndre Ayton being one, which that might be a little murky now since they just drafted Jalen Duren and they still have Isaiah Stewart on the roster. And also like Miles Bridges potentially. Like so they have like guys that they want to go after in free agency. And I think now they have 49 million in cap. Like they have a lot of money in cap. So I think that's why they were like, okay, we're willing to sell kind of low on Jeremy Grant. And this team, Troy Weaver, like they draft really well. So like that, late first round pick from Milwaukee, they could turn that into a stud because they do their due diligence when it comes to drafting guys, scouting. They do a very good job drafting, especially late in the first round. So I'm not really mad at it as long as they get somebody in free agency. They either get Miles Bridges or they get DeAndre Ayton if they still go after him or whoever it is. As long as they capitalize in free agency, I'm not mad at this trade. And as for Portland, you give up a first round pick in 3 years to try and build your roster up now. This just can't be your big move of the offseason, though, if you're the Blazers. Like, it has to be more. It can't just be Jeremy Grant. Like, this is our big addition. Like, nah, got to be a little more than that. I do like the transition, though, from I think it's Joe Cronin in there now. He was a little shaky at the deadline, but I'll see how this offseason goes before I judge the totality of what he's done so far. But this is a good step in the right direction. We'll see what they do with Anthony Simons, see if they go after DeAndre Ayton themselves. And, yeah, big offseason for the Blazers because the West is only continuing to get better, and they have to keep up in the arms race.
I really
Yeah.
thought that Ayton was about to I thought he was there pretty much. Just he seems so out of Phoenix, and it's like you open up that max spot, and it's like it just looked perfect. Now, obviously, Miles Bridges kind of feels like a better fit just because he's like from Detroit and kind of more of like that like wing spot that I think they needed a little bit more, especially getting rid of Grant. But it's like with what they've done now and like drafting a center, I don't know. It just kind of takes like Ayton off the table because now you have Stewart and Jalen Duren, and it's like two young centers that obviously you just made the move to get. Like it wasn't like that was naturally even your pick to begin with. So it's like they put themselves in like the Ayton sweepstakes and then kind of took themselves right back out of it.
Yeah. Note that pick that was moved to get the Jalen Duren pick was the pick that they acquired in the Jeremy Grant trade. So it was like a very good value acquisition. They traded away what's probably going to be that close to 29th overall pick in 3 years down the line for a 13th overall pick in this year's draft. That was, of course, with the Knicks wanting to get off the Kemba Walker contract so they can open up that cap space to potentially go after Jalen Brunson, as was previously mentioned. But it was very good value to move up and get Jalen Duren, and that was probably why they did it as opposed to hedging their odds on getting DeAndre Ayton. But yeah, as previously mentioned, with moving Jeremy Grant and not taking back any salaries, you get to keep that cap space flexibility. $36.7 million is the money they have right now, with Kemba Walker's contract still included, as well as their draft selection salaries being included. That's a very rough guesstimate based on last year's salaries from picks, but that's about what they're working with. Kemba Walker's salary getting bought out would bring them to $46 million. And then if they want to get rid of Kelly Olynyk, then they'd also almost have $60 million. So they have a ton of cap space to work with. Pretty much all of it's still going to be around next year as well because Cade's not extension eligible yet. Of course, Saddiq Bey is not extension eligible yet. Isaiah Stewart's not extension eligible yet. So they have 2 off seasons where they have a ton of money where they could go out and get a guy. Miles Bridges, of course, is probably the most likely one at this point in time, is one that I would love to see in Detroit. I think he fits into that power forward spot quite well, but it's a good move for them as much as it was weird at the time to get that Milwaukee pick. They ended up turning that Milwaukee pick into Jalen Duren, which is an absolutely brilliant move for them, and it's one of the big reasons why they're probably my biggest winner of the draft. And ultimately, it was a bit of a surprising trade for Jeremy Grant with that little return, but I think they've done very well. And again, the Pistons have just done very well with their rebuild so far. Full credit to them. This was just part of a very good couple of days to continue their rebuild.
Is KD going to reform the Bad Boys?
I don't know about that. But yeah, Dev, I think you tweeted the either yesterday or the night of the draft. Like this is like basically 2 years removed from the start of the rebuild, and they already have such a good young core. You could see it already in the wings last year. Like once Cade got healthy, you're like, man, like this team is like they got a lot of talent there, and they're only going to get another high draft pick, and they just make all the right moves. They bring in guys, get their value up, and then flip them for picks or young assets. Like they just do. Troy Weaver in this front office has done such a good job. And if they can get one of the, I mean, I think Ayton can still be on the table because it's like, if you had the chance to bring in DeAndre Ayton, you will do it. He's still so talented. Like you will do that in a heartbeat, no matter if you just drafted Jalen Duren or Isaiah Stewart's only like in going into year 3. You will do that if you can. And if they get one of the two, if it's Miles Bridges or Ayton, I think it's a W off season. I think right now I'd rather see Bridges because I think Durant has extreme upside. I think he was the best like pure big man in this draft. And Isaiah Stewart, I think he's best as like a backup, and that would be one of the better backup bigs in basketball. So I think if they can bring in a Miles Bridges, and then you just look at their team, like they'll have Cade, Ivey, Bridges. If you can bring back even Marvin Bagley because he played pretty good there, like Gabe mentioned, you have such a nice core that you have a coach in Dwayne Casey to where they'll still be competitive trying to win some games. But if you're not a playing team, it's no big deal. Like you'll just have another top 5 pick next season in a very loaded draft class. So they're in such a good situation. Detroit fans should be very happy for what the future holds.
Hey, Sadiq Bey had a 50-point game last year too. Like he can explode at any time.
Yeah, I didn't even mention him. It slipped my mind. Yeah, they got such a good young core, man.
So deep. They might have the best young core in the league at this point. Them or like New Orleans are probably like my top of the top.
Damn New Orleans, and I know Devin is very, very high on the Magic, who we'll definitely talk about.
I'm high on the Magic. And Memphis deserve their spot in there as well. They're just a little bit less in the rebuilding category, of course.
Yeah, it's that almost at the point with Memphis that they're just so good now, so quick that they don't even feel like a young core anymore.
Yeah, for sure.
They just play so ahead of their age, I think.
Yeah, definitely. They got those vets in there that make them feel like they're a little bit more mature as well. When you throw in a Dylan Brooks and a Steven Adams and Kyle Anderson, you got some guys in there that can definitely be good leaders. But, I mean, they just got some mature young guys as well that have adjusted to the league very quickly. So, it plays its part.
Yeah, they did a good job in the draft, too. I want to ask y'all, just to pivot a little bit, do you think the Magic got it right at number 1? Like, because it was looking like either Jabari or Chet for the last 2 weeks. And then all of a sudden on draft day, Woj got it wrong in the morning, and it just flipped. It flipped all of a sudden to Paolo. Do y'all think they made it right with that pick?
Yes.
Yeah, I do. Paolo was my number 1 guy. That was my number
1. I think that Chet to OKC was just kind of like they're like match made in heaven almost. They just were so linked to each other from the very beginning. I feel like it was like Josh Giddey was like tweeting stuff to Chet. So like right away. And so that was just kind of set in stone almost. So it was like, which one's going to be 1, which one's going to be 3? Because 2 is just 2. It was almost like when Lonzo Ball was going to the Lakers, it's like we knew he was 2. Even though he could have even been the best player in the draft, you just knew he was going to 2 just because the match was so there. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. It's just Paolo, I think that he is probably the most likely to come in and be a number 1. Whereas I think Jabari, he might be a really good number 2, maybe a little bit lower of a ceiling. And so the fact that like the Rockets have like a Jalen Green on the roster, who I think is a higher ceiling than like the Cole Anthony or the Franz Wagner of the world. I think it's cool that the Magic took the guy that can really be that number 1. And then the Rockets took more of that safe guy who has probably a higher floor, but maybe not as high of a ceiling.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. That's how I feel about Paolo and Jabari Smith. Jabari is a very good player, but he doesn't really have that upside, to me at least, that is that typical number 1 overall pick, where you see this could be the number 1 guy in a team who's an all-NBA perennial guy in the league who's making all-NBA first, second teams multiple times. I don't see that upside in him, and there's nothing wrong with that. He just doesn't project as that elite number 1 overall player. From Paolo, I can see that a bit more. Orlando, as you mentioned, Gabe, are that team that needed that number 1 option, which is another reason why I wanted to take them to take Banchero so much over Jabari Smith. It's like they have a lot of really good players, probably too much, and they need to start figuring out who they actually want to keep and who they want to get rid of. But they needed that number one guy, unless you really believed in Franz being that number one guy, where he's probably better as a number two. So if you have Franz alongside Banchero now, that little forward combination alongside Wendell Carter Jr., who I really like moving forward as well as a multiple all-star time center, I think they have a really nice core going on over there, and I think Banchero was definitely the right pick.
Jonathan Isaac's flowing somewhere in the void too. Markel Fultz is over there somewhere.
They got
I feel like wasn't that
10
like
legit good players, man.
Throw in RJ Hampton, throw in Chuma Okeke,
they caught
throw in
Mo
Jalen
Bamba?
Suggs.
Wasn't Mo Bamba tied to like the Heat or something? I feel like I saw that somewhere.
The Heat,
Yeah,
I think the Knicks.
saw that. Yeah,
He's been tied to a few teams.
yeah.
Mo Bamba had a good year. Shout out to him. But
He did
They
yeah,
got so many players.
y'all said everything though. Perfect pick. I was kind of iffy on Paolo like for most of the year because just when I watched him, I just didn't really see it. But when I broke down the film, I'm like, I see the potential where he can be like a 24, 25 point per game scorer. And that's what this team needs. Like you said, Devin, they have so much good young talent already, a lot of complementary pieces. You got to take a swing for the home run guy. Like, this is where you take the home run pick. Like, we have to hope that he pans out. And I think he will, because I think with Jamal Mosley in there, even in just his first year, you could see he's getting the most out of his young talent. Like, nobody expected Franz to be what he was in year one. He was so good. Even Markel came back, played well. Jalen Suggs was a little up and down, but you saw the flashes. Wendell had his best season. Mo Bamba had his best season. I like this new regime in Orlando, and I think they're going to get the most out of Paolo. I think this was a perfect pick. I think, like, really most, like, the first half of the lottery, you could look at all those picks and be like, I think each team got what they wanted. Like, I think they got the guy that they wanted or the guy that fits them right now. Because, like Gabe mentioned, like, with the Rockets, I don't know how Paolo would have fit there because he's somebody that's probably an alpha offensively. Jalen Green has shown he's going to be an alpha offensively, a true number one guy. Sometimes it's not a luxury to have two number one options on your team. It's just not. You need guys that complement your number one. I think Jabari is going to be able to do that. And the Rockets had another great draft too. They got a point guard, Ty Washington, late first round. I think all the teams, like, in the first half of the lottery got what they wanted. It was the second half of the lottery where things started to get a little weird, but early on, I think every team got the guy that they wanted, and I'm excited to see these guys on the floor, man. Summer League is right around the corner, so it's going to be exciting to see these guys out there and competing.
Yeah, all three of these first teams, really, to me, I think are in a similar position, some a little more than others, where they have so many players and so much talent. I think they're just waiting for the one to, like, really break out. It just seems like there's so many guys that show flashes, know how, like, a big game or a big stretch or something, and then they kind of go away for a little bit. But it's like, honestly, I think Orlando and the Thunder a little bit more than Houston, but even Houston to an extent. It's just like, who's really going to take that big leap and get into, like, all-star contention?
I feel like SGA is kind of there for OKC. They just need to let him play.
Yeah, and win some games.
And Jalen Green, true. I think, will get there. He's just only 1 year in.
Yeah, and Paolo they might finally have their number one guy. So I think they did the right thing. They made the right pick for sure.
They have SGA, and that's like their number one. Even though if you're a contending team, to me, he's probably not a number one on a contender. He's probably like a number two on a contender. So it's like, I think they really could benefit from all this, like, talent compilation that they've had, somebody else breaking out and being that, like, other guy. And then especially with Orlando, it's like, if you got Paolo and you expect him to be a number one, I think you need somebody to hit that, like, also star level, like somebody to really break out as that Robin. I think if you draft and you have, like, your Batman, then you need that second guy who kind of breaks out and kind of comes a little more out of nowhere. I feel like that's how it goes, like, so often. It's like you get your Giannis, and obviously it took a while to come along, but then it's like, here's Chris Middleton too.
Okay.
And it's like that other guy that comes up.
So I got a little quick game that we can do there. I'm going to name the guys for these teams and give me a percentage of the chances that they can break out and be that number two guy, like, for the long haul. So we can start with the Magic since top team. We'll just assume that Paolo's going to be the number one guy. We'll just assume that. So I'm going to start with Cole Anthony. Already had a good start. So what percentage would y'all give him of being the true number two guy?
Number 2, like 20. I don't like him as a number
20%.
2. I don't like him as a number
Personally,
2.
I'm going to say about 35 just because Franz is also a front court player. I think if Paolo's your main front court player, it's a lot easier for the best backcourt player to be your number 2. And I think there's a really good chance that he can be that best backcourt player.
I would probably say about 30. I think he still has like elite, like really good upside, but I don't know. Number 2 just seems like that's big. So I will move on. Jalen Suggs. This is a little more mysterious. Jalen Suggs.
Man.
15. I'm not high on Jalen Suggs at all. I think he's in such a weird position too, because he was like in Orlando. Orlando gets the number 1 pick. He's like best friends with Chet. They didn't go to college together, but they went to high school together and went to the same college. So they have a lot of ties. I feel like he probably wanted Chet on the squad. And now the fact that they got a number 1 pick who's probably not the guy he wanted, I think it just puts him in a weird spot.
Yeah, I'm not high on Suggs as a number 2, that's for sure. I still think he's going to be a solid NBA player, but I don't see number 2 option. I'd say probably 15%. I don't see him as a number 2 offensively.
I was gonna say like 10%, bro. I think like he'll probably be like a really good like two-way guy, but not like a number 2 option two-way guy. Like just like a lower end, really good defensive dude that can get you like maybe 14, 15 points a game. Like, I think that's like his. I don't want to say ceiling because I don't want to put a cap on somebody that's like 20 years old, but that's how I picture him in the NBA on a really good team. So Franz, could he be the number 2 guy? What would y'all give his percentage?
I'm really high on Franz compared to most, so I'd probably say about 70 or 75. I really like, as much as it is a 2 forward thing. Not that it's as much 2 big forwards, but we're seeing in Boston right now that you can have 2 wings that can be a number 1 and a number 2. Now, this is a bit more wing dominance and prototypical wing with Paolo and Franz than it is with Tatum and Jalen Brown, no doubt. But we're seeing that it can work. And I don't have any doubts from what I see from Franz Wagner in year 1 that he can probably become that. It's more so just going to be that fit alongside Paolo and how they can have that to work, from who's going to be more ball dominant and how they both get their offense. But I really like what I see from Franz Wagner going forward. I think he still has some playmaking to him. I think he has some scoring to him from all 3 levels. I really like what I see from him. I definitely don't like him as a number 1, but I think as a number 2, he can be that.
I'll say about 40. I think he's probably the best player on the team last year. I do think, though, it's like having another forward. Yes, the Jays do make it work. But there's a reason why everybody was even talking about, like, splitting them up, because it's like maybe they might not complement each other the best and might take up some of the same space. Now, I think that Paolo and Franz do enough differently so where it can be a nice little dynamic that they have together. And he would have the highest percentage for me because, I don't know, the way I'm doing it, it's like having my percentages kind of add up together. Because, like I said, probably like 15 for Suggs, 35 or so for Cole Anthony, 40 for Wagner. And then my last 10% is probably Jonathan Isaac, low-key, because he was so good before he got hurt. And it's just such a wild card because he's been out for so long. But I don't know.
No doubt. That's what I'm thinking, too.
If he comes back, listen, if Isaac comes back, bro, he was for real. Like, dude is nasty on defense. Less of an offensive second option, but just like this is clearly the second best guy on the team, bro. I mean,
he hasn't played in 2 years, man.
But bro,
man's disrespecting 2022 All-Star Wendell Carter Jr.
I believe a Markelle Fultz before I believe in Jonathan Isaac, bro. That's just my opinion.
I'm telling you, that's my wild card pick, Jonathan Isaac.
Bro. That is a wild card, no doubt.
We're talking about Franz. I was gonna say like 50, maybe 55. I'll say 55. And the thing that's different between these 2 forwards and the 2 forwards in Boston, the Boston guys are both wing players and they play very similar. Paolo and Franz are like 2 very different players. And
That's what
one's
I
like
mean. Yeah.
one's like a 4-5. The other Franz is more like a 3. He's like a traditional wing player, basically. So I think it's a little different in that aspect, man. But I think we're all in agreement. Franz probably has the best chance, and I think Wendell's like, I don't want Wendell to be a number 2.
No, me neither. I think he's just a good borderline all-star caliber center, but I don't think he's a number 2. I think it's hard to be a number 2 as a center. I think it's really hard to be a number 2 or a number 1 as a center unless you're like elite and you're like top 5, top 10 player in the league.
Yes.
So you think that Wendell this next season, you think he'll be on you'll say like a Jonas Valanciunas tier?
I think he's already on that tier, to be completely honest.
Already on that.
I think he's already in that tier.
Sheesh.
Wendell was really good second half. I think he's averaging 19 and 10 or something like that. He was going crazy second half of the season.
Yeah, he was playing really well.
And the Magic were
really
like
good.
A top 7 defense. Like I think at least second half of the season.
They had a month in the second half where they had the number 2 defense in the league before they started resting everyone.
And that probably was only behind the Celtics.
Yeah.
Who were like historically good. So
well let me give you an answer here, Gabe, because I was going through centers this morning. And I currently had Wendell Carter Jr. above JB. So
I can't wait to do our top 10 list, man. That's gonna be
I don't
spicy.
really rank players, but I was looking through centers this morning. I was like, I need to. Just for my own sake, I need to. And,
See, I don't do rankings.
I had him above JB. So
I don't do rankings either, but I don't think anything's wrong with a little like rankings of players today. A little like, healthy like top 10 players at their position. I don't think anything's really wrong with that.
Especially with us, because I will rank players all day.
I don't get into all time rankings.
Nah, I can't do all time. Once we get out of different eras, I can't be doing it. We got to. For me, I got to compare players that are playing today against players that are playing today, and once we get out of that, it's not beneficial at all.
It's because old players just can't keep up. I mean,
there is a skills gap.
The top 10 today list might as well just be the top 10 list, because I mean, basketball just continues to get more evolved. So clearly, those are the 10 best players.
Yeah, but I always say, I feel like we might have had this discussion before on the pod, but I feel like great play, like the best of the best in any era, if they had the same opportunities in this era, they would be able to develop the same way, like skills wise, because you'd have the trainers, you'd have the nutrition, the science, the medicine, you would have all that to your disposal. So I don't know. I think great players would be able to adjust to any era. That's just my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, if you were making enough money to where you didn't have to go be a plumber in the off season, your game would get a lot better.
Plumbers, electricians, all that, man. Let's move on to OKC though. They got a lot of guys. I like what Gabe did. He kind of made it like a full percentage of 100. I kind of like that. So let's go OKC. We know Shay's their guy, and they got a lot of different options where they could probably go. We'll start with Josh Giddey, their top pick from last year. What's the percentage of him being the number 2 guy? Probably low. From the looks of y'all's face, probably low.
I think he can be a really nice number 3. I think he can be a really nice, which is weird because he's more of like an on-the-ball guy. But I think he can be a pretty nice second guard next to Shai. The thing is that you just drafted a guy number 2 overall. And so it's like, I think Chet is going to be that guy, that second guy. And so I'm going to give Giddey a 20% chance. I'm going to throw 5% to Lou Dort, and then the rest of the 75 is Chet. And that's the list.
No Trey Mann in there?
No.
Trey Mann?
He's not going to be – he can be good, but I don't think he's going to be a number 2 option over Chet or Giddey or I mean –
okay. I think if Giddey wasn't there, it might be a little more viable of a take.
Yeah.
But Giddey is there.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm debating on being this harsh because I don't want to completely disrespect Josh Giddey, but I'm about to say 0.
Chet. It's just because Chet.
It isn't even Chet. Like, as far as Giddey's game goes, like Giddey is good, but from a scoring creation standpoint, he's just not there. And there's nothing wrong with that, but that was never part of his game. That was never part of his projection in terms of his upside. He is a very good passer. He has good vision. He's going to be a very good playmaker. He'll be able to create a little bit of offense, but he's never going to be some elite shot creator, especially from the perimeter. He's not going to be going out here and hitting multiple step back threes a game. Like, that's just not Josh Giddey's game. So he's going to be a fine player. I think he's a fine playmaker and facilitator and complementary option. But as a number 2, if he's your number 2, well, then you're probably not very good. So I have to say a 0.
You guys really heard it here first. There's a better chance that Jalen Suggs is a second option in the NBA than Josh Giddey, man.
I think that's true. I have a hard time thinking, like, what's his ceiling, especially alongside Shea. Like, I can't even really think of, like, a player comparison, like, what he could be. Because when you think of all of the decent, like, good playmaking guards that can create a little offense, but it's not crazy, they're all elite defenders. Like, Marcus Smart's an elite defender. If you want to throw, like, Ben Simmons in that talk, elite defender. Josh Giddey's probably never going to be an elite defender. I'll just say it right now. So it's like, I can't even project what his ceiling is even going to be. If the jumper improves, he could be a decent just facilitator, spot-up shooter, like a Lonzo Ball type without the defense. But outside of that, it's like damn, like y'all drafted him ahead of like some guys that look like they're going to be really, really, really good. And not saying Josh Giddey's not going to be good, but, you know, I don't know. Like, I'm just having a hard time seeing what his fit is on the NBA level alongside, like, being on a really good team. If you have already an elite guard like Shea, who kind of needs the ball to be effective.
I mean, I think he could kind of be like a souped up Rubio for real.
That's the problem, though, is like you mentioned, Gabe, like, or Tyrik, SGA is going to have the ball. So
all
it's
the
like,
time.
so how does Giddey fit in? Like, I don't, that's the problem, is that fit. Like, I don't see the fit.
If he just like modeled himself after some of like what Rubio does, Rubio played pretty good with like a Devin Booker and a Donovan Mitchell.
He did, but like Rubio's even a better spot up shooter. Not saying, I mean, Rubio was.
That's what I'm saying. If he develops the shot,
yeah, that's actually not a bad comparison.
Yeah,
and Rubio's not like Rubio's an okay defender. Maybe Giddey can get to being okay, but yeah, the jumper. If he's not a competent jump shooter, we might look at the Josh Giddey pick like, damn, they took him over Kuminga, over France. I don't know. I feel like a lot of guys could have fit that spot next to Shea. Like, maybe even Davion Mitchell could have fit next to Shea like better than Giddey. I don't know. We'll see. Can you really
be the off-ball guard without having like either a pure jump shot or really good defense? I feel like every off guard kind of has to have one of those two aspects.
You got to be a capable jump shooter, man.
Yeah, you have to be. You have to be in today's NBA. If you play 1 through 4 and you cannot somewhat hit a 3-point shot at a respectable rate, then it's just wraps. I mean, we see that in the playoffs every year. Sometimes you can get away with it in the regular season, but guys that just can't hit threes that don't do much else for you on offense just get played off the floor in the playoffs. I don't think Giddey's quite at that level, but I think he'd be a guy who would struggle to be as productive as he can be on a winning team, and could be a guy who just ends up being a little bit more ball dominant on not as successful teams if he can't get that jump shot.
Yeah. That's why I say I think Trey Mann is like more viable of being the number 2 guy on this team. Like, when I see his talent, shot making and shot creating ability, it wows me. It's like damn, like they drafted 2 guards, and it's like Trey Mann might have more upside than Josh Giddey. It's just a matter of maximizing that potential, you know. But I still think Giddey's gonna be a good pro. It's just I don't know if he's gonna be top 6 pick good, you know, especially with the guys that were drafted behind him.
To be honest with you, I'm kind of leaning a certain way right now to say there might be a world where the person with like the high, not for this year, but in the long term, the person with the highest chance of being OKC's number 2 might be Shea.
I could see it.
With Chet as the number 1. I think Chet might have more upside and just like being like younger and all that. And I think if someone's getting to the point where they're still stacking young talent so much, that Shea might end up becoming a little like behind the timeline almost.
That's another thing that kind of pissed me off with their draft a little bit. Like, yeah, y'all went and y'all had a pretty good draft. You know, they drafted Jang
or Dieng. I still don't know what it is. And they drafted the first Jalen Williams. Drafted him kind of early, but I was like, I mean, yeah, that's cool. Like, y'all stacking up on young talent again, but Shai's so good right now to where we've seen Shai be able to, like, get this team to playing 500 basketball early in the season. It's like, y'all got all this young talent, but it's time to start cashing in, man. Like, Sam Presti just keeps trading these picks or keeps getting picks in. It's like, bro, you got to start cashing in at some point, bro. You know, we've had
That's
this
the thing,
discussion
though.
before.
When you just get like a number 2 overall prospect with an incredibly high ceiling, can you say like your time to cash in is with him as a rookie? And that's what makes it so weird if your top 2 players is Shai and Chet.
Man, you at least want to be like a team pushing for the play-in. I don't think there's any reason why teams should not be pushing for the play-in unless you were in a position like the Pistons last year, the Magic, the Rockets, teams like that. Like, okay, I can understand if you guys aren't pushing for the play-in. But other than that, man, if you have an established young star who's been in the league for 3-4 years, you should be at least trying to give your fan base something exciting, not watching Lindy Waters and whoever else they had on the court, freaking Jalen Hoare. Like, they had guys on the court that people had never heard before. No disrespect to those dudes. But you're giving your fan base that when you have shown, like, we can be somewhat competitive. Like, we can beat a team that's, like, much better than us, like, talent-wise. But, like, we're good. We're well coached. We have good young pieces. But it's just like they're just so obsessed with the idea of we just got to get these picks. We got to get all these top picks. We got to have every first-round pick available. And you're not going to have enough roster spots to fill these voids, man. Like, it's just there's not enough roster spots in the world for 17 future first-round picks, bro.
They have some pieces too. It's like if you're running a starting lineup of like Giddey, Shea, Dort, Pokashevsky, and Chet, like that's not really a bad 5 at all. Then you're bringing Trey Mann off to run your bench unit.
Got Baisley still.
Baisley as like a bench wing. It's like you've got pieces, and you're at least like 8 or 9 deep with some people who can at least play somewhat. Like they could really be pushing for a 10 seed, especially because there'll probably be like 2 or 3 teams that just get hit by the injury bug, and that just screws them over. Then like maybe like the Rockets are a little worse than them. If then all of a sudden you're looking like possibly being a 10 seed.
Yeah. I want them to cash in, but I know they won't because next year's draft is loaded. So
yeah,
they're just going to sit around, wait for the draft again. If they don't start cashing in and trying to compete after next year's draft, then I'll start having to be very critical. But as much as I want them to start competing right now, it's like, yeah, okay, next year's draft is so good, whatever. But like they're already at the point now where if they don't sign anyone in free agency this summer, which is probably unlikely now with Chet being in, so DeAndre Ayton's probably no longer on the table. Their availability of having a bunch of cap space that they've had over all the last 3-4 years is now gone because they're going to have guys on extensions. So that part of being able to build a roster is gone at that point. So you have to start moving picks then. So, or if not, you have to start moving players. You have to start moving something to try and improve this team and make some type of a push for the playoffs. So if that doesn't start coming next year, then yeah, that's a big problem at that point.
Maybe they'll cash in for KD, his homecoming time.
I
saw where it all started. Well, not where it all started, but
I saw Nick Wright said that, and I was actually watching. I'm like, I wouldn't hate to see it.
Hey, LeBron did it.
To see it. Yeah,
LeBron left for a couple of years. They got a little bit of a young thing going, and LeBron, he saw it. Oh, y'all got pieces. Oh, I can come back and make something out of this.
I don't think KD cares enough though for that.
I don't think so either.
KD, I feel like I think KD. I feel like he just likes to have fun and play good ball. I think he could have some fun playing with the young guns, man.
Yeah, until he gets sat 3 weeks into the season, and it's like, yeah, no, we got to start losing games, KD. You got to stop now.
So, Dev, you said 0% for Giddey. What's the rest of your percentages look like for OKC?
Honestly, I don't know if I can give anything to anyone outside of Chet. I think he will be a top 2 option, though. I feel pretty confidently about that. But I don't like anybody else. As much as they've added talent on this roster, pretty much everyone else has just been complimentary or bench pieces, which is fine. But Outside of Chat, I don't see anyone else being a top 2 guy, of course, outside of SGA.
Yeah, I was gonna
So
say
which one is your focal point that you build around? Shay or Chat? Let me ask you
Shay.
that.
Absolutely Shay.
Yeah, probably SGA.
Okay.
Gotta be Shay.
I think it's gonna be SGA. I don't know if Chet's gonna be that guy. I don't think he'll be far off. Like I think they'll be still in very predominant roles and can still be multiple time All-Stars, but I think as your guy that you're going to down the stretch, I think Shay's that guy. I don't see Chet being the guy that, okay, let's give him the ball. He's going to go get us a bucket down the stretch. You might do it sometimes, but I don't think he's your go-to.
Yeah. I would probably say like 80% Chet as a number 2. And I'll give Giddey 5, I'll give Dort 5, and I'll give Trey Man 10. Like, I'll just give them a little bit of the pie, but probably Chet. Definitely Chet right now. And for the Rockets, I'm going to say like 90% Jabari Smith. I don't know about y'all, but
Yeah.
I'll probably say 90% Jabari Smith.
Yeah, I don't think there's anyone else in Houston I believe in either. I think that's just Jabari.
Wendell Moore, Duke Star. Hey, the Rockets thought they were getting a player from Duke.
They did.
And they did.
They did.
They did.
They had a good job. I like the Tari Eason pick. That was a very, very sneaky good pick. Like defensive wing, that's what they needed in Houston. Him and Jayshawn Tate are like so similar, but I like that pickup a lot.
Jayshawn Tate, man, Buckeye legend. Hey. Shout out to the Spurs, though, man. Taking my guy Malachi Branham. Literally, CBS gave it an A+ pick.
What do y'all make of the Spurs draft?
Well, let's put it this way. Within moments of the draft being done, I had multiple Spurs fans in my YouTube comments from a Spurs video over a month ago complaining about their draft. I don't mind the Sohan pick. I think they needed a wing at the end of the day, and obviously they need wings, but I don't mind that pick. I think he's going to be a good defensive wing. How much he can develop on offense remains to be seen, but I do like him as a prospect. I think he's going to be a fine player, but I don't mind the players they picked after him, but it's just the fit. Like, they have so many guards at this point. They're like, Lonnie Walker might be out this summer because he's a restricted free agent, but they still have DeJounte Murray, who I know is in trade rumors, but currently is still a member of the Spurs. You have Josh Primo, who you just drafted in the lottery last year. You have Devin Vassell, who ideally would be a guard. He's been playing small forward. You've now added 2 more guards in the draft, who now might have to continue to play at small forward. You still have Trey Jones, who's in the backcourt. Like, there's just so many young guards here that you can't give them all playing time, or you end up playing them at small forward like with Devin Vassell. So they're in another situation, obviously nowhere near as bad as OKC, but they kind of need to figure out who they want to keep and who they need to let go of, because otherwise they just can't develop all these guards.
I'm going to say it. I hope they trade DeJounte Murray.
For a front court player. Let me add that.
For a little front court player and some picks. I hope they trade DeJounte, bro. He seems like he's a little too ahead of the timeline to where if they keep him, they're still going to be a borderline playing team. And I think they're to the point they need to kind of be more of a bottoming out team.
They weren't even a borderline playing team this year. They were just a playing team. Yeah, I was about to say.
But like even like going into this season, they'll probably be like a board like around that 10 seed, maybe make the 10 seed like because DeJounte is that good. Pop is still such a good coach. I don't like that. I hate the mediocrity, bro. Like, you just got to either decide we're going to go all in, try and be a playoff team, or we're just going to bottom out. And with this draft being so loaded, from what I've read, there's like the top 5 prospects are all guys that would probably be like a number 1 pick in some other drafts. Like, that's how stacked this class is. They need to go ahead and make a decision. And I saw a report they want 3 first-round picks. You probably won't get that, but you could probably get like 2 and a decent young player. You know, I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility. And I think a team like the Cavs, a team like the Hawks, they'd be willing to pay a decent price. You know, Gabe mentioned Denver in my stream, and I got to think about that. Like that would be nice. If they could keep Jamal, of course. If you got to give up MPJ, give up MPJ. I don't care.
Michael
But
Porter, that's a front court player to the Spurs. He's got a lot of upside. Just get over the injuries. You know, I feel like he's one of those players that the Spurs would take in and be like, "Hey, we can develop you into something."
I think so too, bro.
Because at this point, it's like he's missed so much time that I don't know if he's going to come in and be ready to compete with Jamal Murray, who can give you 50 in a playoff game, and Jokic, who's back-to-back MVP in his prime. Like, I just don't know if he's ready for that, and I think DeJounte can come in and be ready for that.
Yeah, I agree with that. I like that fit. I'm good with the DeJounte Murray trade as long as it's not based on the Christian Wood and Jeremy Grant trade market. Because if they start getting very little value back for him, then that's a problem. But if you can get a couple of firsts and a fine forward or a Michael Porter Jr. or something like that, then yeah, I think that's not bad. You're selling high on him as well. His trade value might not ever get any higher. And like you say, Tyrik, like they've been in the middle for so many years now, and they're not going anywhere because of it. So it's not a bad plan for them to bottom out and try and get a few picks in next year's draft and start to build towards being more than just a fringe playing team. But they need to get value for DeJounte Murray. If the trade market as a whole is just really bad for sellers right now and you end up getting a crappy return for him, then probably hold on. But I would imagine the market for him would be much more value in return than what we've seen for Christian Wood and Jeremy Grant.
Yeah, I think they just like put out the report like we want 3 first-round picks. I feel like teams do this to like make sure they don't get fleeced. Like, nah, we're just gonna offer you 1 pick. Like 3 might be a little excessive, but we'll give you 2, and we'll give you a young player. That's like a 3rd first-round pick. I think that's why teams do that. You know, it's all smoke and mirrors, bro.
It's just negotiating.
Yeah, that's probably why like
by the book.
Yeah, that's probably why like the like Zach LaVine's camp, like Rich Paul, and then they probably put out the report that Zach would be willing to go to San Antonio, just so the Bulls would offer him his max contract. I think that's just why they did that for real.
No, for sure. It's just how it works.
Rich Paul has literally gotten so many people paid so much money, bro.
Rich Paul's he's the GOAT. He's like a top 10 like figure in sports all time, in my opinion.
Bro, if an agent's number one job is to get their clients paid, Rich Paul has done that more than anybody. Right. And getting paid to go wherever you want to go with like player options and all the leverage and like the 1+1 deals where you can opt out every time the salary cap raises. Like, he does more than just getting players maxes. He gets them bag on bag.
Like, John Wall's great grandkids are going to be feeding off of his 2021-22 salary.
No doubt.
John Wall, I hope now, because is this the last year of his deal coming up?
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay, I think it's about time where the Rockets are not competing. Buy him out. Let him go somewhere. And
that's only if he wants to get bought out. He might just be chilling, man.
Unless y'all gonna pay like $40 million,
I'm not taking a buyout, bro. I want all 47 M's, no state taxes in Texas. I need all of that money, bro.
I need every penny.
I mean, look, we saw the report last week that said that him and Houston were going to try to agree to something to move forward for this season. But they said the same thing last year. So
yes,
I ain't trusting anything that he's moving until I get an official report. I would not be surprised to just see him sit and earn his bag for the year. And
I'll take the millions, but it's like, bro, at this point, if I haven't got to play in like 3 years, dang near, like
it's basically been like 4 or 5 years. Bro.
Yeah, bro's barely played this entire contract, like, and so it's like at this point, bro, if you give me like most of the money, I just want to go play. Like, let me just sign I'll go sign a vet minimum with the Lakers and just like chill, play with LeBron.
If I want to play that bad, I'm gonna just go run a bunch of open gyms in the summertime. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna just run a bunch of open gyms. Like, I can still hoop if somebody want to trade for me. I can still hoop, but until then, hey, keep backing up the Brinks truck. You know, about to buy a new car, a new watch, a chain, all that.
Yeah, and I don't blame him.
Yeah,
man, earn his bag.
Can't even think of teams that could even like trade for him.
Be like the Lakers.
Yeah, flip him Russ. Them for each other again. Like, that's the only teams. Like really.
Yeah.
That is crazy. I love how they always go to the example of like, oh, even the most untradeable contracts like Westbrook and John Wall were able to be traded, and it's like because they were traded for each other.
Yeah. There needs to be 2 terrible contracts for the one bad one to be moved.
Or
Yes.
actually,
Otherwise, you can't do anything.
Westbrook got traded twice, but that was just a bad trade.
But
Lakers.
remember, Chris Paul was a bad
It was a
contract
bad
at the time.
contract. Yeah. Yeah.
People forget
That's
that.
they really said Chris Paul is a bad contract, and then he carried OKC to the playoffs.
Honestly,
And then he got Phoenix to the finals, bro.
I
That
love
is
Chris
insane.
Paul. I love Chris Paul, but I did think he was washed.
Yeah.
I thought he was
too.
done, bro.
Me too.
That last year in Houston was brutal. He did not look good at all.
No, he didn't. What I will say though is I didn't understand people who thought that OKC team was going to be like a 13 seed in the West. Not that I'm going to
Well,
say I said they were a 6
understand
seed
it,
because I
though.
didn't, but I think I said they were going to be a 9 or a 10 seed. Like that
were
was a solid
5 seed,
team.
I think.
Yeah, they were up there.
They were tied. They
Yeah,
were tied for the 4th seed.
between
Like,
SGA,
they were really good.
CP3, Gallinari. Like that was a solid team.
Well, I think
Steven
the
Adams,
consensus
yeah.
is that Chris Paul is not going to play. They thought that he was just going to sit until he got flipped to another contender. So they didn't think he was actually going to suit up. And then at that point, the other like older pieces like a Gallinari, they probably thought, oh, they just flip him. And so he probably thought it was going to be basically like what they were last year. Like Shea is like they got players on the roster that are kind of solid, but they're just like not playing.
Yeah.
Another thing, I'll say this. I was thinking this the other day, actually. From what I saw of Shea, like his rookie year with the Clippers, I didn't imagine him being this good. Like I thought he had like a little bit in this game, but I didn't picture him being like a franchise, like a face of the franchise kind of guy. I don't know how y'all.
I don't know
viewed
if
him.
I saw him this good, but I definitely saw the upside. He was just obviously in a more limited role at the Clippers, and I might have been slightly biased because Ujiri was hyping him up before the draft as well and was trying to trade up to get him. But he definitely showed some flashes where it was like, yeah, okay, in a bigger role, you're going to be really nice. I don't know if I saw as good as he is now, but I definitely was thinking, yeah, okay, he might be a borderline all-star guy. Now, I think he ends up being better than that in his prime.
Yeah. I thought he was going to be like a pretty solid, like all around player just because he looked like he had like the physical tools for like defending and like
he was good defensively.
Just all this stuff, like solid,
really
like playmaking, solid scoring. I didn't expect him to just be like the pure bucket that he is basically. I mean, I definitely, I kind of expected him to be like a 15, 7, and 5 kind of guy, not like a 25-point scorer.
Yeah. Same, bro. Like that rookie year with the Clippers, and like you said, his role was limited. And at Kentucky, his role was kind of limited too because they always have so many talented guys. So like, I feel like you just couldn't see like the totality of his game and what it is now. Like he's developed great. I just want to see him play a full season, see how good he can actually be because we haven't seen that in like 2 or 3 years. Like it's been so long since we've seen Shea play an actual full season, bro.
Yeah. Yeah, facts.
Has he since the Chris Paul year?
Oh,
I don't think so. He played 70 that year. He's played 35 and 56 since.
That's so sad.
Yeah.
And he played
He's too
he
good,
played
man. You gotta
82
see
year
it.
one.
I'll say it. I really enjoyed the Keegan Murray pick. I thought it was a good pick. A lot of people had their thoughts about them not trading and about them not taking a certain somebody who want to pick later. But listen, given the circumstances, given their roster, given the mindsets of the players involved, good pick. I'm not mad. I don't think you trade to go down like one pick because I think if Keegan Murray wasn't going 4, he probably was going 5.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they weren't going to get anything if they traded down because obviously then Detroit knew they weren't taking Ivey. So it's like, what's the point? Literally just giving up assets to get the same players. So, yeah, I mean, if there was a good trade on the table to trade down, even though it is the Kings, I would like to think that they would have taken it. But Keegan Murray makes sense. Ivey, as much as he might be the better prospect, just doesn't make as much sense for Sacramento. I think Keegan Murray can go in and fill a role on the wing for them and can help immediately. Not in a significant sense, but can still fill a role next year and help them try and push towards the play-in tournament. So I like that pick for them. I think it was a good fit.
Yeah. what I said in my mock, like I was hoping that was the pick that they went with, and even though it might be a little high for him, he was still one of my favorite prospects. But it might have been a little high. But at this point in the Kings retooling, whatever it is, you just got to take solid players. You just got to take solid players that are NBA ready. It can help you win games. I think Keegan Murray's that. He can run multiple front court positions, maybe even some small ball fives and some lineups. Like he's very versatile. I think he's a low maintenance player. He's not flashy or anything. He doesn't need the ball to be effective. He can fit right in and help them win some more games. I'm so happy that they did not go Jaden Ivey. They would have done that. Man, Monty McNair should have been fired the same night. But they made a good pick. If you couldn't, obviously, if the trade was there, I think they would have made it. But they probably looked at the trade market like it's probably not nothing that's worth just not drafting anybody. So I think they got the guy that they needed, probably the guy they wanted to. And we'll see. We'll see what the rest of their offseason has. I'm sure they might make some more moves. Maybe Rashawn Holmes' move is in the works. Never know. But I like that pick a lot. I think Keegan Murray's good. We're going to look back and be like, yeah, he's going to be a very good pro for a long time.
I think it's like he is a little bit of an older prospect, and I feel like it just made the most sense for them, considering it's like their top two players are 24 and 26. Even Davion is 23. So it's like the players on this team, like their main core components, they're not like 20, 21. I mean, Keegan Murray's coming in at 21, but it's not like you have a bunch of 19, 20-year-olds on this roster. Like this is a roster that, whether it goes successfully or not, is trying to kind of push to win now. And so them taking a guy that's a little bit more developed, more NBA ready, a little bit further along age-wise, I think was the right choice.
Anytime the Kings can make a pick that is a safer pick and ensures they actually have an NBA ready and NBA productive player, I'm with, because they've failed to do that a few too many times. So I am more than okay with them taking a guy that is fairly certain and fairly confident will be a valuable NBA player. The floor is pretty high. So
yeah, they're unlike the Magic. Like the Magic, we said had to take the home run. The Kings, no, don't hit the single. Hit the single, maybe stretching for a double. Maybe Keegan Murray can be that. He doesn't have to be a superstar. You got two all-star caliber dudes already. You just need complementary pieces that just know how to play the right basketball. Hopefully Mike Brown was the right pickup for them as the head coach. I still don't know how to feel about that. Maybe a few years on Steve Kerr's bench has helped him, mature a little bit as a coach. So we'll see. I'm hopeful that they can. The West is so damn good, bro. But I'm hopeful that they can at least maybe they can be the team that can make a little bit of a jump that we're not expecting. I hope that for their sake, for that fan base, for those players. Because if not, then it's just like, damn, we traded away like a franchise cornerstone to miss the playoffs for the 100 straight season. We're cooked. Let's move the franchise.
Hey, I still won't be too mad if they fail, because the Seattle Supersonics will be right there waiting.
It just sucks, though, because the Kings have such a loyal fan base. And if you make a video, you talk any banter about the Kings, their fans come in hives, bro, and they really be defending everything this team does, which I love the loyalty, and they deserve some better basketball. Like, I could not be a Kings fan, bro. I would have just gave up my fandom a long, long, long time ago.
Hey, it comes eventually, man. The Buffalo Bills lost 4 straight Super Bowls and then missed the playoffs for like 17 years in a row. Now look at where they are now. Now they're like one of the best teams in the league. So
I think the Kings is up to 16 or 17 seasons. No
eventually it turns around.
I hope so.
If we can get the February and March version of De'Aaron Fox, then there's hope. But we get first 3 months of the season De'Aaron Fox, well, then that's another problem.
I mean, luckily the end of the season, De'Aaron Fox is the one that was playing with Sabonis and not the one that was playing with Halliburton. So the fact that that's more likely, I think.
Yeah, I mean, this guy was putting up all NBA numbers. He was playing really well.
I hope we get March and April Davion, because he was cooking.
Facts.
He was cooking, and he's shown like he's still a really good defender on the professional level.
Yeah, he can be a
Fox
guy for them.
Fox won the beef with Lonzo, man. He just owns Lonzo. That was literally the big storyline coming out of the 2017 draft, was like Fox versus Ball, and now it's like That first season when like Lonzo would miss every game against the Kings, that was so funny. And now it's like
Thanks.
neither of them are like all-stars or anything. I mean, Fox is like probably that level, but there's just so many good players. But it's like I think that Fox is clearly better than Lonzo.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, that's an unexpected turn of events. Like when that whole thing was going on, I'm like, yeah, Fox is getting his name out there and he's really good, but come on, he's not Lonzo. And 5-6 years on, I was wrong.
I think that's different though. I think Zoe can fit anywhere. I don't think
Yeah.
De'Aaron can.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. Fox needs, and this is the problem for Fox and why he'll probably never be on an overly successful team. He's not good as like a number 2 or a number 3, but for his talent level, that's probably what he would need to be. Because him as a number 1 or a number 2 probably isn't leading you to a contender unless he's a number 2 alongside a really good number 1. But alongside Sabonis, like it's just not happening.
Yeah. Unless Sabonis takes a big leap or something, I don't know. He needs to get back to like 2019. His first All-Star year, I think that was like the best Sabonis that we've seen. You know, he's been really good recently, but it just seems like he was like dominant then, and they were winning games.
I want to know what happened to the 2019 De'Aaron Fox, man. He was literally that year, he was a 37% three-point shooter on 3 attempts, which isn't like too
And
low.
he shot 37.5% from 3 through February and March last year. He's back.
Hey,
Man. Everyone's sleeping on those 2 months. There's a video this summer. It's coming.
Good. You're telling me he shot that good and he was still – his total season number last season was 29.7%.
Yeah, it's because he shot 17.1% in October and 23.3% in January.
Hey, he still shot better than Anthony Davis.
You're not wrong. He also played more than Anthony Davis.
That was a crazy storyline last season with AD having the worst jump shot of all time.
18% is actually nuts.
Yeah, that is wild.
Like, I don't know. This is the same dude that everybody was like, oh, the Rockets got to make him stay outside because he can just bully them inside in the bubble. And AD just said, I'm going to stay outside. And he still cooked them. What happened to that guy?
I'm sorry for even bringing him up. I don't want to talk about Anthony Davis. I'm sorry. My bad. He has to earn my love and respect. Not respect. I still respect him, but he has to earn my trust back. Because I was so high on him going into last year. He disappointed me. So he has to earn that back from me, bro.
No more MVP Anthony Davis anymore.
No. He's like, when we get to ranking, I might get disrespectful when I talk about AD, man. He might not be top 3 power forwards on my list, man. I don't know. We'll see. I was close. Like last year, I know we wasn't doing the pod, but I almost had either Sabonis or Julius Randle ahead of him, but I didn't do it because I was expecting.
Yeah, that seems really harsh.
Julius Randle.
That was a different time. That was a different time. That was Pascal Siakam. Julius.
You should have known though. You really should have known.
I was still a believer in Julius, man.
I don't think most people expected Randall to like continue to improve. I think a lot of us expected him to take a step back, but not this much of a step back.
He was still cool. Like he wasn't like garbage. He was still cool. It was just like the 40% threes weren't there,
bro.
And then all the stuff with the media, defense is worse.
It is the body language, bro. It's just that he just looked like he wasn't even acting like a good teammate, really.
He wasn't talking to the media anymore, which is just never a good look. It's never a good look. If you're gonna talk, just give him bland answers. That's fine.
Really, the threes was one thing. I think a lot of it was like his mid-range game wasn't hitting though, because he has taken a bunch of
his efficiency
shots
as a whole was just bad. Let's look at it this way: when in New Orleans before he signed with the Knicks, he averaged 21 points, shot 52% from the field with 34% from deep. So he was relatively efficient. Last year, he shot 41% from the field, averaging 20 points. So it's like statistically, he had a worse year last year than he did in New Orleans.
I didn't even
And
think it was.
we valued him a lot less in New Orleans than most people probably do right now, even though he did have a bad year.
I don't know. I feel like in New Orleans was when he kind of first got his name out there because, like, he kind of had a couple triple doubles because that was when Boogie went down.
Yeah.
I think was right in that same time.
I
Like
think
maybe
that
right after he left.
that was the
Might have been
year
a year
after.
before. Yeah.
That was the year after Boogie got hurt because they made the playoffs that year. That was the year where they shut AD down because they're like, yeah, we're trading your ass probably.
Right.
So yeah. So I mean, yeah. I hope he shakes back a little bit for the Knicks' sake because they gave him a lot of money.
Yeah.
Transitioning into Jaden Ivey talk.
Jaden, bro, he's just gonna be so nice. I just feel like that dude can just he's gonna put the ball in the basket, man. That's all I gotta say. He gonna do some that dude is special. I think easily the best guard in the draft class. Obviously the first one taken, so I mean kinda obvious, but just so impressive at Purdue. He torched my Ohio State Buckeyes, sadly. I mean, somehow got locked up by Doug Eden in St. Peter's. Never forget. But regardless, yeah. Jaden Ivey, him and Cade are going to be so fun to watch. Them with all the assortment of front court players they have around them now. Sadiq Bey out on the wing. Just, I can't wait to see it. I'm excited.
Yeah, I think Cade and Ivey have one of the best backcourt in the league potential. That's where I see. I think they fit well together. I think you get two guys who can both handle the ball and can play and make a bit, but Cade can be that primary guy. Ivey can be that secondary scorer who can space the floor a bit, who can attack the rim. That duo just looks like a really seamless fit to me with two guys who can both handle, who can both score, who can both create a bit. I think they'll fit along well. They can both be on ball, both be off ball. There's no easy way to defend them when you, like you mentioned, you have Sadiq Bey out there who can space the floor. Hopefully Jalen Duren develops well and you have him at center and have a pick and roll game with him and Cade. Like, there's just a lot to like about this team now, and that Ivey pick I think is a good pick for just Ivey being a good player and Jaden Ivey being a good fit in Detroit.
Yeah, and I think the fit's gonna be seamless, bro. Because Cade's such a low maintenance guy, even though like he's a primary ball handler, but he can play off the ball. He's a good defender, I think, and Dwayne Casey's installing that into his team. Like, you gotta be a good defensive team to win basketball games. So I like that a lot. And I'm on record. I think Jaden Ivey can be like the best player in this class. Like, he has that much talent, and to get him at the 5th pick for somebody that had top 3 talent, such a good pick. The Pistons they do a really good job. They've done a good job drafting lately, and Killian Hayes did not work out. We'll see if he's on the roster even past this season. But now you got a true backcourt mate with Cade, and I like how you said they have best backcourt in the league potential, because I think that's true. Like, the Pistons are doing something special for sure. We talked about this earlier, but they've made all the right necessary moves. Did a great job in Thursday's draft, and I'm excited to see this team this coming season. I think they can be a competitive team. Like, maybe not playing competitive, but I think they'll win a lot more games than they did last year.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think we saw that towards the back end of last year anyways. I mean, like, from a betting standpoint, if you want to get into that, like, they were one of the best teams against the spread over the back end of the year. Like, they were playing better than most people expected them to. They were being very competitive, even if they weren't winning. Like, they weren't getting blown out anywhere near as much as they were earlier on in the year. And now you're going to add Jaden Ivey to that team. You're going to add Jalen Duren to that team. Obviously, you're taking away Jeremy Grant, but you're going to have another year of development from everyone, not to mention what they could potentially do in the offseason. And as you mentioned, Dwayne Casey is a defensive guy. He has this team playing defense. So, again, they might not be a playing team next year, like you mentioned, but they're going to be competitive. They're not going to be an easy win on any given night.
I mean, yeah, Cade was literally in serious, like, rookie of the year talks after not even playing for, like, the first month of the season. So it's like you can tell he definitely turned them up late. And then just him as a playmaker, like, the fact that Jaden Ivey can just go in and just do what he does rather than having to, like, fit the mold of trying to, like, be a team's lead guard, primary playmaker, get other guys involved. Like, the fact that they already have somebody for that, I think will allow them to just come in and fit and mesh into what they already have going so much better than if they just had nothing there. And so I think it's really a spot that can maximize his potential more than any other.
Tell you, man, best future in the league. That's my take. I've been saying it for like the last year. I think they got the brightest young core that's not like already a playoff team. I think between them and the Magic, they're going to be probably competing for a lot of like Eastern Conference Finals appearances like within the next decade, bro. Like those teams are doing it the right way, rebuilding a team.
Yeah, definitely.
Organic, man. That's just the new wave.
Homegrown, small markets. You love to see it. You love to see it, bro.
Detroit is like it's like a small market team kind of. It just doesn't even feel like it just because they have so much history.
Yeah.
Like when you have like championships in multiple eras and just like so many memorable like players and moments from your franchise, it's like it really doesn't feel. I don't know. It's like if I was an NBA prospect and I got drafted to Detroit, I'm like, okay, I can take this seriously. Like they might for real. It's almost like a blue blood of sorts, like an NBA blue blood.
It's a hard working city. You know,
Yeah.
I had the opportunity to travel there, and I didn't realize how close it was to Canada. Like it's like right there.
There's a reason when Toronto play there, half the crowd is Raptors fans.
Bro, because I remember I was coming off of like the exit, and I saw an exit that was like Canadian Bridge. You cannot turn around. I'm like, oh, let me make sure I don't go down that exit, bro. But it's a nice little city. It's just like it's like a town type of environment. Nice little downtown. And yeah, if you just want to go there, hoop. The fan base is good. They're gonna be behind you. And they got their young star. They got potentially their number two. They got a big. They have Isaiah Stewart still. They have cap space. Sadiq Bey. Maybe Killian Hayes can transition to being a backup point guard. Who knows? Maybe that's a good role for him.
This is already the second round of Pistons talk on this episode too. That's how you know we're high on them because we were literally talking about them way earlier with the Jeremy Grant thing, and now it's like we just running the whole team down again.
I love Detroit, man.
Pistons are rent free in my brain right now. I've been writing a script on them for the last 2 days. So
shout out Detroit.
It's a very good future for sure.
I don't know. Everything else was just like the draft. There were some guys that slid. Like me and Gabe was in my stream, and we was just waiting for EJ Liddell to get picked, and it took forever. Not until pick 41, which was insane to me because he was somebody that was mocked as high as like 18. Jaden Hardy fell, who we talked about earlier. Kennedy Chandler ended up being a second-round pick. A lot of guys fell, which was just very intriguing,
Washington
man.
fell crazy too.
Yeah, he fell like 8-9 spots. Like a lot of guys that were considered first-round talents fell. But I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing for those players because now y'all get to go to situations like EJ, for example. He gets to go to New Orleans. I think he'll fit in nicely there once he gets his opportunity. Jaden Hardy gets to go to Dallas, which he's just going to be asked to score the ball. That's it. You know, I think there's a little bit of a blessing in disguise for being a second-round guy because more likely than not, you're going to go to a solid team that already has so much in place to where you just have to come in, not overextend yourself, and just, you know, do the things that you're good at. And I think that's an upside thing for a lot of these guys. Were there any, like, notable guys that fell for y'all that y'all think – we're gonna look back and be like they're gonna be a big time steal in this draft?
Outside what was mentioned, I don't think so. Like I think the Jaden Hardy fit in Dallas is good. I think that's going to be a really good fit alongside Luka. Like you say, just not having to do anything crazy, lower expectations, just keep it simple. But I don't see anyone currently that I'm wowed by that I'm predicting. I'm sure there'll be a few, as there always is, but I don't see anyone too obvious.
I gotta watch film on him, but I heard a lot of people really high on Pat Baldwin, the Warriors draft pick. I heard a lot of good things from like that pick, and then also, I mean, Nikola Jovic and that Heat culture, man, he might be able to turn up.
Maybe.
Because they take those like late picks. Those, you know, they always have those random guys that pop up out of nowhere. So it's like, if you get a kid with potential at like 29, might be able to put in some work.
He might have been drafted too high though. He might have been drafted too high for their liking.
That is
First round
true.
picks doesn't work. It's got to be second or undrafted.
Exactly. Nah. Yeah. All the guys you mentioned, y'all just mentioned. I agree. The Warriors, they keep doing it, man. The Pat Baldwin,
He was like, I didn't know that he was like he was like a top recruit coming out of high school. So he just had a very bad, very, very, very bad freshman year, and he got hurt. And then they also got Ryan Rollins from Toledo. He was like averaging like 24 a game. He can score the ball. So I don't know. The Warriors just keep doing it, man. I don't know how the champs just keep getting richer.
Bob Myers. Bob Myers is probably on like the Mount Rushmore greatest GMs of all time.
He really might be.
But he literally sacrificed all their depth and their whole future and like everything to go out and like get KD.
Now they rebuilt it.
They won titles, and then KD left, and then literally like 2 years later, there's champs again.
Right back. Yeah. The Lakers actually made a good pick. They got Max Christie. I like that pick a lot.
Yeah, it was a decent pick.
Lakers did something smart.
Hey, I saw what Draymond said. 35th overall picks out of Michigan State.
Yeah. I like Max Christie a lot.
Speaking of Twitter, did y'all see did you guys see like the exchange between like Skip and Russell Westbrook?
Yeah.
I saw it.
He said something about Skip said something about the Max Christie pick and was like he's gonna pair with LeBron and Westbrook. And Westbrook decided he had time today because he was like,
I ain't mad at him, bro.
He said, hold up, you better watch your mouth. Don't say anything you wouldn't say to my face. And I'm like,
hey, I saw
pressing Skip.
They brought an old video up though of Skip. He had Chris Bosh on his show, and he called Bosh like he had some random like some weird name for him, like Bosh Spice or something like that. And Chris Bosh was saying like how he didn't appreciate that, and then 10 seconds later, Skip called him Bosh Spice again. I'm like, yeah, Skip don't care. He'll say it to Russ's face. Russ might have a different reaction than Chris Bosh did, but he'll say it to his face.
Bro, literally, yeah, like how like Kobe and Shaq did that like face-to-face sit down. Number one on my list favorite would be Skip and LeBron.
Oh, God.
I need to see Skip and LeBron just.
Bron don't even care. He's never acknowledged Skip a day in his life.
No,
he doesn't care.
Bron doesn't care, but just to like, I just need to see it.
And to be completely honest, privately, Skip probably doesn't care either.
He doesn't. He just gets
No,
his best.
It's just the entertainment value. That's all it is.
It's just one of like the longest running bits of all time.
Yeah. I've been seeing a lot of back and forth lately. Like on draft night, there was a little bit between the Grizzlies and Kendrick Perkins. Bro, what's funny is I had the entire draft on. But when I was watching, I wasn't paying attention to like the comparisons until I saw that one, Trevor Keels and Desmond Bane. I'm like, bro, they are nothing alike. Like they are absolutely nothing alike. Like Perkins is just talking out his ass right now. And then I saw the Twitter exchange. I'm like, shit, I don't blame Desmond Bane for saying that because they are nothing alike.
Yeah, Chet is Porzingis and Giannis combined. Didn't he say like Jaden Ivey was like Ja Morant or something?
Yeah, we knew that was gonna happen though. It's like
some of those draft night comparisons are just wild, man.
ESPN, they did a good job letting Malika Andrews be the first woman to host a draft, and they did a terrible job of letting Perkins be the one to give draft day comparisons, bro.
Facts.
But they should let Jay Billis do that, man.
Yeah, I mean, but yeah, literally, like Bill, he was doing a good job out there, and Malika obviously did really good. Purchase, bro. I get it for entertainment value. Also, bro, keep Woj off the broadcast. Keep Woj off.
Keep him off the broadcast. And he needs to be banned from Twitter. Him and Sean's, they gotta be banned from Twitter.
Bro,
every draft
I have like a yearly like tradition of on draft day
muting them,
going on Twitter and turning off. I'm no longer on Noti Gang just for that one day.
I had to turn it back on though because they were announcing trades and I had my volume turned down on the TV, so it was like kind of had to.
It wouldn't have mattered anyway. It took him like an hour and a half to announce trades on TV.
Thanks.
Yeah. There wasn't that many other than like picks being swapped. It was after Jalen Duren. It was just the Anthony Melton trade. That was about it.
Didn't they say they announced like the Jalen Duren trade before like pick 27 though?
Mm-hmm.
And Jalen Duren was pick 13, so it's like literally like that's too long, bro.
Yeah, it probably took that long for them to figure out what happened after Woj and Shams tweeted different things. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that was a good pickup by the Sixers.
Very good. I feel like that's gone under the radar. For real.
Yeah, it definitely has.
Woj is like the only big person I can trust anymore, man. Shams was wrong a couple times yesterday.
Woj was wrong
And-
too.
Yeah, I don't know, bro. It's still Woj.
Yeah, Woj just still my guy. But yeah,
I mess with Woj, but he was
I don't
wrong
even
too.
I don't even trust Adam Schefter for NFL news anymore, bro.
No.
I don't follow Adam Schefter, bro. He's bogus.
Yeah,
He's
I
effed up.
I follow Rappaport, but
Yep, that's the
yeah,
guy now.
Schefter's had a few had his last straw drawn this summer. It's just too
Yeah.
many bogus tweets.
After the Dwayne Haskins stuff, I'm like, yeah, I can't rock with you anymore, man.
Yeah.
Like, come on, you're too seasoned to be doing stuff like that, man. Like you're too much of a big voice to be
Yeah.
doing stuff like that.
Yeah, facts.
You just know how people take things on the internet, bro. They're gonna start trolling and like they're gonna talk about how like if you just talk about any negative quality of anybody in that situation, it's just gonna lead to just way too much.
Exactly, man. Like somebody just literally lost their life, and that's the first thing on your mind was he struggled to find his footing. Like, come on, bro. You're bogus. You're unfollowed. You're still gonna get your paycheck, but
Dude, it's still probably a millionaire.
yeah, I'm gonna just.
you don't even got to
keep my
talk about
thoughts.
the negative.
I'm gonna keep my thoughts to myself. He's bogus. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah. Y'all got like biggest winners, biggest losers of the draft.
Pistons
Biggest
won,
loser,
Knicks
New
lost,
York.
and that's all I got to say.
I think I think that the Thunder could end up being a really big winner or a really big loser, and I think it completely depends on what happens next.
Yes.
I feel like that's OKC every draft though, just because they have so many picks. But
Yeah.
we're
I was
just
gonna
continuing
say,
to wait.
yeah, I was gonna say Pistons probably my biggest. I want to have OKC in that tier. Detroit, obviously. Oh, I just said them twice. I meant to say the Magic. There's another team that I like what the Rockets did as well. I think the Rockets walk away as winners again. And then really the biggest loser to me is the Knicks because they're banking everything on we got to go get Jalen Brunson. And if you don't get him, then all this was for nothing. You traded a pick that players fell into your lap, and you traded it away for basically cap space. And what are you going to do with that cap space?
And we've seen the Knicks try and go get cap space before and have it blow back in their face and not work. So
Yes. You already have contracts that look very sketchy, so I don't know.
Honestly, I think New Orleans had a pretty good draft too. That might be some of my EJ bias, but you get the player who had like the biggest slide, who can be like enticing, and then you got Dyson Daniels who can come in and be a nice backup guard to only increase their depth.
Really good. If you watch his tape, there's no way that you can look at him and be like, nah, he's not one of my favorite prospects in this draft.
I'm gonna call India winner too, as long as they trade Brogdon this offseason, because I'm high on Matherin, and I think him and Tyrese can be cool next to each other.
Hey, bring Brogdon to Boston. We'll pay whatever. Bring him to Boston. Bring him
Sadly,
to Boston.
Malcolm Brogdon is sadly going to the Warriors, so I don't really know what to tell you.
Probably, or he's a Laker. He might be a Laker.
Malcolm, bro, I don't think he could be a Laker, bro. He just doesn't. He's just too quiet. I don't know.
The fan base is gonna be killing him, and he's just gonna be chilling. I think they call him like Prez or something like that. Like he's just gonna be
The
chilling.
president.
Yeah.
He was the president. Okay, so this tweet says, "Who's the best analyst in the game right now?" The fact that somebody just says Shannon Sharp, like he is incredibly entertaining.
Yes.
He is wonderful on TV. He could literally get the biggest bag of all time. If you want to talk straight football, maybe I'll give him some creds there, because Shannon Sharp knows football. He's a Hall of Famer. I cannot call him the best basketball analyst in the game.
It's funny because him and Richard Jefferson, they said they weren't beefing, but they had a little back and forth. But they resolved it because I think Shannon Sharp called it Richard Jefferson lazy because he only covers basketball, and Richard Jefferson got pissed about that. But yeah, Shannon does too much to be considered a basketball analyst. He's a sports show host. Like, there's a difference.
That whole Undisputed is literally just entertainment content. Like I cannot take it as serious analysis.
Which I'm not mad about.
Both of them are just there to give you a good time and make you laugh at stupid things they say.
Yeah, exactly. I got nothing wrong with people that are clear about the fact that they're there for entertainment, just providing entertainment. People that try to convince other people that they're sports analysts, but are clearly just doing it for entertainment purposes, that's when it's a bit more of a problem. But people are going to be entertainers. They can be entertainers. I'm all for it.
Some of these comments, they say Shannon is super unbiased unless it's about LeBron. But if you watch that show, every conversation ends up being about LeBron. So then they all end up being biased.
I would probably go with JJ Redick. He's probably the best because he actually knows basketball and is unbiased.
Dude, I've seen literally 2 segments of CJ McCollum, and he might already be close to taking JJ's spot.
Yeah, CJ's good too.
Very well
really
spoken.
Good. Yeah. Now, if he wants a career in that afterwards, he's definitely got it.
CJ needs to run for Congress, bro. This dude, he could talk anything.
Facts, though.
Facts.
So there's a reason that he's president of basketball player operations.
Yeah, I love CJ, man. Love CJ.
Definitely.
That's a good conversation, though. Did y'all see Dame just posted on his story?
No, I didn't see that.
It was
him. I saw a tweet that said Dame. Oh, Dame did?
Yes.
Bro, because Nurk tweeted it, and then I saw Kenny just tweeted Dame is a troll, but I didn't see the actual Dame post.
Why is Nurk tweeting it? He's gone.
Facts. Bro, literally the top reply was, the top reply was, hey, buddy, you're in the trade package.
For real.
Facts, though.
Like, buddy, you're not coming back, man.
And that's going to have Ben Simmons, Shaden Sharp, and Jeremy Grant. That's going to be their big 3.
I would trade all that for KD. KD and Dame, they have a puncher's chance. They got a punch. If you keep Anthony Simons, they got a puncher's chance.
Do they,
make some noise. If you could maybe get a decent big in there, maybe another wing.
Bro, KD is not going to Portland, bro. He's going to Phoenix.
Why would he go to Phoenix?
Why? To win championships.
To play with the fake Kobe Bryant and CP0 rings. I'm just playing. I love Devin Booker. I love Devin Booker and Chris Paul. I'm just kidding.
Bro. Nah, it's going to be KD, Mikal Bridges, and DeAndre Ayton will stay. That's going to be the core.
Oh, man.
CP0 rings. That is terrible. Yeah, that's like in any Westbrook meme, bro. It's like the fact that he wears 0, him and Dame too, wearing 0 is it just sets them up for failure.
Yeah, I don't know if the Kyrie stuff is true and he does end up on a different team and then KD explores his options. I don't know where he would go. I really don't know.
Yeah, I don't either. I feel like it's such an unprecedented situation. I don't really know what he would, especially with KD. I just don't know. I actually have no idea.
Yeah, he just signed that big extension, so he's under contract 4 years. That's like you said, unprecedented. That's the word. We've never really seen a star that is locked up for a long time, still playing some of the best basketball of his career, be on the move. We've never really seen that.
No.
So
real talk, imagine KD going to Memphis, bro.
Memphis. Oh man.
I would just love to see KD go to a team with a run and gun core.
Honestly,
I don't know. I'm so tired of when the big stars move, they go there, then they reform the whole roster and have a bunch of vet minimum players around them, and they start I just want to see a big star get on the move and just go to a team with a super good core and just fit in there and be yeah, we running it.
That's kind of the problem, though, is when you trade for a star, you usually lose half that core. That's why you end up signing all those vet min guys. If he goes to Memphis, Dylan Brooks probably gone, Jaren Jackson Jr. is probably gone. You're losing an elite rim protector, young guy who's your second star. Desmond Bane might not be safe. You're just losing all those pieces around them, right?
It's only if KD's I want to go to Memphis. Like that's the only way they will probably not get fleeced in a trade package.
Yeah.
He should have went to Boston, bro. He should have went to Boston in 2016, man.
Bro, he should have went to Washington. He should have went to Washington.
Bro, I forgot that was even like a thing.
Yes, because KD's from DC. Literally that year after 16 and 17 was like the best Washington were. With
they had the cap space too. They would have had space too.
Beal, Wall, Kevin Durant, Kelly Oubre, Otto Porter.
And
I think they're running Gortat.
Yes, sir. The Polish Hammer.
John Wall got him paid so much money, bro.
I saw a tweet.
He owes John Wall his entire family legacy.
Bro, I saw a tweet and it was like, because I feel like they was asking no, it was when Colin Cowherd was like, Westbrook and John Wall have never made a player better, which was just a pathetic poor take.
Yeah.
And somebody in the comments was like, bro, Gortat, Otto Porter, Trevor Reeves, John Wall can claim all of them as dependents on his taxes, bro.
He got an extra year or two out of Paul Pierce.
Paul Pierce was still playing decent basketball at 37.
Yeah. Yeah.
But as soon as he left John Wall, he was not doing anything.
Otto Porter was making 94 M's. He was making more than some starting quarterbacks in the NFL. Oh my God.
It's crazy.
Gortat got 60 million. Martell Webster got 40.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Did Westbrook really get a lot of people? Did Westbrook get a lot of people paid though?
Jeremy Grant had some of his best early seasons under Westbrook Westbrook. Steven Adams
got a big bag.
I just know Grant really got his bag off of his time in Denver.
But I think Steven Adams, he probably
did get paid.
Jeremy Grant was shooting 40% strictly off of getting wide open corner 3-point shots off of Westbrook penetrations.
Yeah.
That's fair. He probably got Oladipo's value up a little bit too. I don't think anybody really thought anything of Sabonis though.
I don't think Oladipo's value really went up there, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, it was up enough to get Paul George.
He was just bad though. Oladipo, he was bad on his own front. He was just out of shape. Just wasn't playing good basketball. That was his own fault. It wasn't because of Westbrook.
I don't know though, because I'm with Oladipo, Serge Ibaka was traded for Oladipo and Sabonis. Sabonis didn't really do much, but then by the end of the season, those two were good enough to once again then trade for Paul George. So it looks like their value did go up playing there.
Serge is another player that used to get a lot of good looks playing with Russell Westbrook. I still think Serge is a good player regardless, but he got a lot of
he was playing wide with KD open too, though.
He got a lot of wide open mid-range jump shots playing with those two guys.
Yeah, he did.
They chose Serge Ibaka over James Harden, bro. That's the worst. That's a bottom 5 front office decision in history.
To just trade Serge 2 years later at the same time. Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah.
Crazy. That was honestly one of the worst takes I've seen in a long time, though. I know Colin Cowherd says he doesn't watch basketball. He has a writer. He needs to hire a new writer. Unless that's his goal, is just to come up with pathetic takes that get talked about. Maybe that's his goal. But
remember in 2019 when he said Ben Simmons was a top 10 player?
I think top 5 or maybe 6.
It was top 10. I think it was the lower half of 10, but
that's another thing. I hope if Brooklyn does melt down, if they keep Ben Simmons, hope they build the team around him, man. Get some shooters in there. You already got Seth Curry, Joe Harris. Bring in, if you can get a decent little stretch big, bring him in and let Ben Simmons cook, man. I'm still high on Ben Simmons. I don't know why. I still believe in Ben Simmons, bro. I still do. I would like
really
to see
think
him have
that
his own
Ben
team.
can be aggressive. I just don't think Ben knew how to be aggressive when he was drafted to Embiid's team.
They just didn't fit well together. And everybody kind of knew that. We just wanted it to work so bad, and they wanted it to work so bad. Sometimes you just can't force, players to fit together, which is just – it's basketball. It's basketball at the end of the day.
His first full year was like Embiid's first full year. He only played 30 games his first year. And so then it's he's already forced to be behind this other guy. Then they get another alpha, super alpha, and Jimmy Butler. It's he was basically conditioned in that system to not be aggressive, and then people got mad at him when he wasn't. So it's like if he's the guy, I think he can do it. I believe in Ben.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen games where Embiid was out and Simmons would be aggressive and attacking the rim. It just
Rudy Gobert's
get it.
head.
You just only get it for a game or two, and then it'd just be back to being more passive. But and if things do blow up in Brooklyn, they're gonna have a ton of assets. They will be able to build a team around them. So one can hope.
Yeah, I think that's the silver lining of this whole thing. I mean, even though you kind of blew up a decent little core to bring in KD, Kyrie, and to win one playoff series in 3 years is kind of pathetic. But the silver lining is you still would have Ben Simmons more likely than not. You could probably build a fun team around that, a fun team. And maybe we can see if Steve Nash has anything to offer as a head coach.
Yeah.
Or maybe you fire him too. But I don't know. It might be a little better than their last big-time blow-up situation. Maybe they can reset a little better with this, with having Ben Simmons at least.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I still think they end up staying, Kyrie and KD, but I still think they stay. Despite all the rumors, I don't know. I don't see Kyrie leaving, and I don't see the Nets being able to just accept that they're done.
Like it's just like where do they go?
Like if you're the Nets front office, I don't. As much as you might be hesitant about paying Kyrie, the alternative is you have to blow it up, and you're completely back to square one minus Ben Simmons. And it's like, if that's what they want to do, then I guess. But, like, that seems like a really, really harsh turn of events from going, you're acquiring James Harden last year to now we're just okay with letting the ship sail and be done and just let this era roll past. Like, that's just like a really, really harsh turn to take.
It is.
Like, when they went to Brooklyn, it's like they had the thing where they were, like, talking to each other at, like, the All-Star break, and it was like, they kind of had some links to New York, whether it was the Knicks or the Nets. They kind of knew that they might like end up going in that direction if things go a certain way. And so there was like some precedent. Now there's no links to KD going anywhere. Like where would he even fit? Who would even be able to get him? And then Kyrie, the closest you got for him is like what he like called LeBron and apologized for acting immature in 2017 or something. Like,
I mean,
I do not think if I'm the Lakers, why that's just you already got one player that can't stay on the court. You want to?
Yeah, y'all have some very, very good points. But I'm more so leaning towards it's close. I'm probably like 60% like Kyrie might be on a different team next year. And my thing is I don't blame the Nets for not wanting to give him a long-term deal because like Gabe just said, dude's not really ever on the court. He's played 103 games in the last 3 seasons. That's just not good enough. And even when he is healthy, it seems like something always just comes up, whether he's taking a leave of absence or obviously he couldn't really control New York being on a vaccine mandate, which kind of sucked. But, I mean, it's a part of the world now. So that was another reason why he couldn't play. So I don't see like I don't blame them for not wanting to give him a long-term extension. And if another team's willing to offer it, I'm sure he'll probably gladly take it because he's such an unpredictable person. We don't know what's going on. But one thing I will say is we see all these rumors coming out, right? Typically, with both of these two dudes, Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, when they see the media start talking, they shut that stuff down more likely than not. Like yeah, Kyrie loves to call people puppets. Like, y'all are puppets. He hasn't said anything. Kevin Durant does the same thing. He hasn't said anything. So I don't know. That just kind of keeps me a little bit on the edge. Like, I think KD will be back. I'm not 100% sold Kyrie Irving will be back. Like, I'm 60% more so that he will be on a different team. Now, where's that team? I don't know. But I don't really know if he's going to be back in Brooklyn at all.
It's just where does he go? Because it's like I don't think he can go to the Lakers because then you have to probably swap him with Westbrook. And I do not think KD is letting Brooklyn reunite him and Westbrook.
What I think Rod, whatever his name is, Pelinka, if they had the opportunity to bring in Kyrie, he will do whatever it takes to get rid of Russell Westbrook. He will ship him to a third team that has cap space. He will do whatever he wants. And if Kyrie says, I want to go to the Lakers, we've seen nowadays if a player wants to go somewhere, no matter if they have cap space or not, they will end up on that team. Like, that's just how GMs find ways to finesse the system nowadays.
So how many years do you think it'll be before we see Paolo in the Lakers facilities?
I don't think that's happening. I think the Magic are
Magic,
actually building something,
listen,
man.
here's the thing though. Magic #1 picks. They went to the finals with both of the other ones. They built something. They still went to LA.
I don't think Paolo will end up in LA.
I think the appeal to the Lakers is going to drop significantly once LeBron is gone.
I think it's already dropped, man.
I mean, it has, but like, I don't think there's ever gonna have been a point in the last, maybe ever, where what we see the Lakers as once LeBron leaves compared to the history of the Lakers. Like, I think the intrigue is really going to be dropping. Obviously, there's the history, but I don't know, man. Like, I don't look at a ton of stars across the league and see, oh, yeah, I could see that this guy really wants to go play for the Lakers. Like, there's a few, but when you look at the past, it'd be like, yeah, there'd be a lot of guys who want to go play for the Lakers. That's the spot. But I don't know, man. Once LeBron goes, who knows what happens with AD? Like, I don't see it as this amazing spot that everyone's going to want to go to in free agency anymore. Not at least for the next 5 years.
They draft pretty well, though. That's like a silver lining is they draft pretty well.
But they don't develop.
Yeah.
That is true. That's kind of the caveat, too, is they draft well, but it is like all of the players got better when they left.
Yeah. Ever since Dr. Buzz passed away, this franchise has just been poorly ran for like the last decade. They've just been ran very poor. And hopefully with, it seems like they're trying to grow up a little bit, giving Darvin Ham a little more control of, his staff and stuff. It seems like they're trying to grow up a little bit, but I don't know. I'm just not life after LeBron is going to be tough for the Lakers. It's already tough now, but it's going to be very tough when he leaves.
It's just the cycle of, like, when you build teams like that. It kind of happens to all of them. It's like you, like, build it, but then it's like you give up so much that then it's just, like, you have, like, your 3 years, and then you go back to being, like, really bad again. Like, that's why, like, I feel like the homegrown teams have a lot more longevity.
Yes. 100%. Who do y'all think is going to be the new, like, Lakers spot then? Do y'all think that's the Warriors where free agents are going to take less money to go there, or, star players are going to be linked to going there, or is it going to be a different team?
I think it already was the Warriors. The whole, like, KD era, they had so many, like Matt Barnes and, like players like that just go take, like, barely any money. Like, David West went over there. Even, like, in that era.
Yeah.
And so for the longest, DeMarcus Cousins went there like a mid-level exception.
Yeah.
That was kind of like
mid-levels. Did y'all see? I'm sorry to pivot. PJ Tucker might get $10 million a year
for 3 years. It's like, man, I know there's
not
that many good forwards in free agency, and that's probably why. But man, that is a lot of money.
Do you really not think that PJ? You don't think PJ is worth $10 million?
Not for 3 years. He's not.
Not at this age. Maybe a 1 year deal.
Maybe not for 3 years is probably saying a lot because he probably will continue to decline. But, like, this is the guy that you put on, like, Kevin Durant or LeBron for a 7-game series.
That's what's.
And how many of those guys do you put on a top 5 player for a 7-game series, and you get some success out of it? Like that, there's not that many of those that exist.
That's what sucks for his part is, like, he's playing the best basketball of his life, and he's 37. He probably doesn't have that many years left in the tank. And it's just like, bro, like, I know he's mad, like, damn, I wish I could have been playing like this at 27 because I'll probably be making $15 million right now. Like, oh, my goodness.
Hey, Al Horford's about to feel the same way.
Yeah, he was
playing really good early on, though. So
yeah, he was kind of pathetic, though, like, towards the end of that playoff run. I was pretty pathetic.
True.
But, yeah, I don't know. Free agency is going to be interesting. Do y'all think Zach LaVine's going back to Chicago?
Yeah, absolutely. So. Yes.
Okay. Just had to
the whole thing about him not being happy next to DeMar because he was like a number 2. Like, they were literally just 1A and 1B until Zach got hurt. Like, just stay healthy and y'all will just be 1A and 1B. You'll get all the shine. You'll do whatever you want.
And so
He was just
because I
injured.
was unhappy playing alongside DeMar, I'm going to go play with LeBron and AD.
Man, exactly. Like that's just
Like,
that's all smoke and mirrors because there's no way that you can like logic that out and make it make sense.
Exactly. Okay, I just had to make sure he's on the same page. People forget Zach was playing hurt basically from December on. Like he was hurt all year. I think he hurt his finger or his thumb, and then his knee was acting up. Like he was hurt all year long.
And this is
a
man
still
who
had an
jumps
all-star year.
high. This is a man who jumps like super high on his jump shot. So if your legs aren't right, like he's going to be more affected by that than a lot of people.
And he was still an all-star for those who don't remember. Like he was still pretty good.
Yeah, facts.
Yeah.
Facts.
Yeah. I don't know if the Bulls I don't know how they get better. I just hope Zoe's healthy. I hope that knee isn't as scary as it sounds like they're talking about. Zach is back, cool. The Rudy Gobert
they need Rudy.
Rumored. Oh my! I love that so much, man.
I
don't love giving up too much, but I've talked to Bulls fans. Some of them are like, "Yeah, if we have to trade Patrick Williams, that's fine," and some of them are like, "Nah, don't give him up." I don't know. I might give him up, bro. To get somebody of Rudy's caliber, I might give him up, man.
What if they traded for DeAndre Ayton instead and swerved everybody?
I would like that too.
I'm not opposed to that either.
I think you need a defensive upgrade over Vooch, man. Vooch is good.
Well, his offense
really
wasn't even good last
man.
year either. So it's like, what is he there for, right? Like he was an okay offensive center. I will give him credit. His defense was a lot better last year, but it's still Vucevic. He's not an elite defensive center by any stretch.
Yeah.
So no,
I think he just had
like that.
I think he just had like a down offensive year. Like I think he'll probably bounce back, but even then, you need somebody that's a staple defensively, and Rudy would elevate that team from being a gentleman sweep in the first round to a team that could probably win a series or maybe even two, bro, because they have the offensive firepower. They just don't have the defensive consistency to be like a real deal competitive team in the playoffs.
Yeah. I don't think they're winning two series. I would not see them getting past like the Bucks, the Sixers, the Heat, or the Celtics.
I don't know if I would favor
or probably
them,
the Nets,
but
they would have a chance
if they have Rudy and Lonzo's healthy. You have Caruso, and then you have DeRozan and Levine. I think they have a chance for sure.
I think they have a chance. They could have a chance with the Nets and the Sixers. I do not think they're getting past the Bucks, Celtics, or Heat.
Wow, you're high on the Celtics. No, I'm just playing.
They just made the finals.
2 games away, yeah.
I know. They literally 2 games away from a title, and nobody significant's really leaving. So
they got to get better though, man. I don't want to see them have that finals hangover to where they're like, oh, we got there, just bring the same core back. They got to get better. They got to find ways to upgrade this roster. I don't know how they do it, but they got to find a way. Because the league is only getting better.
Do you think they need to upgrade I don't even know if they need to upgrade the roster, to be honest. If they come back and Jason Tatum just averages like 27 in the finals,
the reason he wasn't able to do it,
completely different world.
The reason he wasn't able to do it is because he's asked to create everything for himself. And I've been saying this for like the last two seasons now, or at least the last year. Like early on this season, I was really in the camp of Marcus Smart's fine. He's okay, but they need an upgrade at the point guard spot. More so of like a real deal, like playmaker, a guy that can put Tatum and Brown in the position to where they don't have to create every single shot, because that is so tiring. And they have to do that for themselves 90% of the time. Smart, he maximized his point guard talent this season. He did a very good job. Hell, they made it to the finals with him as a starting point guard. But I think you need another really good secondary just ball handler, playmaker type dude. Like I'm just trying to throw names out there, like a Tyus Jones or a Ricky Rubio if he's healthy. Like somebody of that caliber. Not really a scoring guy, just somebody that can put guys in the right spots to get them easy shots. Like that's really the main upgrade that the Celtics need, because everything else is there. Like everything else is right there. It's just they just need small pieces, maybe a little more outside shooting, some bench scoring. And I think that's an upgraded offseason to where you go into next season and you're one of the title favorites.
Hey, if John Wall gets bought out, man, I'm just saying.
I wouldn't hate it. I would just want
That's
maybe a
it.
little bit of a lesser name, though. Like Tyus Jones would be perfect, but he might get offered a little more money than what the Celtics have to offer.
I just want to see the John Wall revenge tour, bro. He's still
I do
got it.
too.
If he was just out there to literally just throw passes around to Tatum, Brown, Smart, everybody, like throw up lobs to Time Lord, he could get Time Lord paid. A Time
Oh
Lord
my-
will get paid anyways, but he could get him paid even
He-
more.
Yeah, Rob is on like probably the most friendly contract in the league right now.
Facts.
I think it's 4 for $54 million, if
Sounds
I'm not
about
mistaken.
Right. Yeah, sounds about right.
Like he's on a bargain deal, man.
For as much impact as he has, yeah, that is really good.
Yeah.
I mean, I was on like the trade Marcus Smart train around trade deadline time. I was like, people think that he's like still a great defensive player and all like this, and he just was not doing it at the trade deadline pass, and he was like, just kidding, I'm still that guy. And
Yeah. He just can't be your only point guard, bro.
Yeah,
He
they
can.
need another facilitator. Someone who can play and make a bit for sure. They're lacking
Yeah.
that other
yeah,
guy.
they didn't really have a real guy to like run like the bench unit. I think there was no
I get-
real like
Yeah.
when you're
I guess
running
they
like Gabe
wanted-
Pritchard as your bench point guard.
I think they wanted him to be that guy, and he's not. Yeah. Tyus Jones is like my ideal kind of point guard that I want to see them go get. But even somebody to a lesser tier might be fine.
I feel like point guards drop off heavy this year. It's like Brunson and Jones and Rubio, and then it kind of falls off, and it's like DeLon Wright, I think.
Is
It's like
Monte
the next
Morris? Monte Morris isn't a free agent, correct?
I believe he is not.
Go ahead and
Myself.
get like you got to get a Rondo homecoming. Rondo's I think apparently he's about to be a free agent.
Honestly, I would not if he could still play like 20 minutes a game. And if
Isaiah Thomas is a free agent.
if playoff Rondo's still a thing, I wouldn't hate that. But he's old as hell.
Bro, I looked up free agent point guards, and 3 of the first 5 are previous Celtics. So
Yeah.
That's funny.
Dennis Schroeder in there. I don't know why Avery Bradley's being listed as a point guard, but you got
Isaiah Thomas, Rondo. It has Kyrie on here.
Oh man. Avery Bradley's like the most hated Laker. I will never forget that. I hopped into space. They were really blaming the Lakers' downfall on Avery Bradley.
Well, it was about waiting for him to be healthy, and then he was
Bro,
back, and then he
nah.
was the problem.
They was waiting for Kendrick Nunn.
The Lord and Savior, Kendrick Nunn.
Oh man. Kendrick Nunn, bro.
He's about to be another NBA mystery that we just never see again.
I feel like I haven't seen him play since. I know he played last year, but it feels like I haven't watched him since the bubble. Like
Really feels
legit.
that way.
They should go get D Rose, bro, just cause. Is D Rose a free agent? Because
I would take
He's still
I would
under
take D
contract.
Rose on the Celtics.
He's still got 2 more years, I think. Last year's a
2
player
more
option,
years?
but he's got 2 more years.
Bro.
I think he's only got 1 more year guaranteed though. I think it's a player option in the
Yeah.
3rd year. That's pretty much how all the Knicks contracts got structured last year. Was they signed everyone to 3-year deals with the player option in the 3rd. Other than
forgot
Fournier,
he
which
was
is a
on
4
the
with
Knicks.
the last being a player option. Yeah, 'cause he was injured for last like 2 or 3 months of last season.
Low key. Oh, another point guard who's about to be a free agent. That's a former Celtic. Kemba Walker's available.
He might be cooked.
You might be.
Kemba, yeah, he's probably
Unfortunately.
cooked. When you're like
He might be cooked.
yeah, I feel like that build of player. Once you kind of lose,
You
a
know
little
who
bit of a
else?
step, you don't age. He was just
You know
never
who
going to
else?
age well, I think.
You know who else is cooked? His former franchise is cooked, man. Did we still not? Yeah, we ain't even talked
We
about
still
this,
haven't
man.
talked about
my
Charlotte.
God. What are they doing, bro? I don't think Steve Clifford's a bad coach, but it's just like, why are you bringing an old voice into the locker room, an older guy too, to talk to these young dudes? It feels like Stan Van Gundy all over again in New Orleans.
I was about to say the same thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
I hate this. I hate this move so much. And their draft was just so weird. Like, you got the best center other than Chet, if you consider Chet a center. You got the best big in the draft. Then you traded him away for like future. I don't even know what they traded him for. And then it's like you draft another big, okay, that's fine. And then you draft Bryce McGowan in the second round, who was a good value pick, but you already have James Bouknight, who couldn't even get minutes last year. And then you still got Gordon Hayward, who you're trying to trade away. And then maybe Terry Rozier's on the block. And then you got to bring Miles Bridges back. You just went through you had a head coach and you didn't have a head coach. Then you interviewed D'Antoni, met with Michael Jordan. I thought that was the guy. And then all of a sudden, Steve Clifford's out of nowhere. Like, yep, he's the head coach. Like, what? Unserious franchise, bro. Unserious franchise. That's all I'm gonna say. They're a mess. They are a mess right now, bro. In my opinion, they're cooked.
Yeah.
I hope I'm wrong.
They are a bit of a mess. Hopefully, they're able
man.
to keep Miles Bridges around and keep the ship afloat. But if he leaves, you have Clifford in now, which is fine, but not great. Defense might improve a bit, but pretty much everything else is going to be a problem, I would expect. And the problem was young guys not getting enough playing time already last year. That ain't going to get better. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, there's so much talent. They have so much talent and like a lot of promising things there. It's just like they just can't put it together. This whole franchise, it's probably, if you had to rank like all time every franchise, they might be like number 30.
And I was just giving them credit for being better at drafting. But then, like, this is just such a, like, it was out of left field, and I just don't like it. Like you said, Devin, the problem was you couldn't get Bouknight minutes. You couldn't get Kai Jones minutes. And now you bring in a guy that literally got fired from his last job because he wouldn't give the young guys minutes.
Yeah.
That's why he got fired. Like, oh, my God.
This doesn't make sense.
Has this team ever been – have the Hornets ever been out of the first round? Ever?
No. Probably not since, like, the 90s.
I'll have to look. It's been a minute.
If that.
Not since Larry Johnson and Alonzo Mourning. Who did I mention in stream, bro? Brazilian legend.
Who did you mention?
2 years away from me. 2 years away from me and KD.
That man Bruno.
Didn't he have some decent games for Memphis?
He did. He had some decent games for Memphis and then just flamed out immediately.
I wonder where he's at these days, bro. Because I really haven't heard that name since like 2019.
Bruno Caboclo.
There's honestly some players that are like in the league now that I thought would have like progressed a little bit more, but they kind of have not.
Bruno Caboclo played 6 games last year for Houston. I did not know that.
Like, I don't know. I just think about the Knicks, and in my head, like I feel like Emmanuel Quickly should be like a little further along right now than he is.
It's only year 2, and he looked good second half of the season. He had some big games.
Yeah, he just had a slow start. Bruno Caboclo is currently in Brazil.
Sophomore slump.
Oh, he went home. He's probably going to end up being a legend over there.
Probably. He won the BCL Americas Championship with Sao Paulo, which was the team's first continental title, and he averaged 24 and 11. Both were second best averages in the league. He also led the league in blocks with 3.6 blocks. So.
He's on his Nico Mirotic timing.
He could still be in the league right now. I think he's just content being overseas.
He is the truth, bro.
Because you got to understand, they probably look at the NBA how we would look at playing overseas. They definitely look at it like that. Like, yeah, the money's good, but do I want to be away from home that long? Probably not.
I don't know, though. I feel like they would look at playing in the NBA like Americans look at playing in like the Premier League.
Maybe. Yeah, that's a good comparison.
It's like the best league in the world, but it's like, you know.
But if you get a little taste of it, like, okay, I got like 4 years. I made some decent money. I'm going to go back home. I showed I could compete over here. I'm going to just go back home, be the best player in that league. I'm going to be a legend. I understand it. I
mess with that for sure.
Just like Stephon Marbury's like, he's the GOAT of Chinese basketball.
Yeah.
He's a legend.
Marbury.
I don't know if they said they're either going to build a statue or he has one already.
You better watch out, though. Jimmy Fredette's coming for that.
Bro, Jimmy be averaging like 40 points a game over there, man.
Bro, what was the dude's name? What was that, 2K18? The Dragon?
2K19. Oh, my God. He gave me like 30
like a smooth 30 in like 5-minute quarters.
Man,
That's crazy.
2K got some all-time legends, bro. Ever since Freak, Prez, DJ.
Which one was Prez? Was that 17?
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
Because I was talking about it earlier when one of the Zoom meetings cut off. Malcolm Brogdon was like the president at the same time that Prez was like the 2K character, and like Malcolm Brogdon was rookie of the year, so Prez was even rookie of the year in real life.
True.
I actually like the 2K17 storyline because it was like an ongoing thing through the season. Like 2K16 was so good, but it was just like the early part of your rookie year.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't mind that.
Yeah. We are all in agreement. At least I haven't played 22 or 21s, but 2K18 was the worst. My career and just experience overall, probably in any 2K ever. We in agreement of that?
Which one do you say?
2K18.
18.
I would probably have to agree. I put way too much time into that game because I played a lot of my team that year. But yeah, 2K18 was not great.
I don't remember if I had 18. I don't think I touched that one, which sounds like it was a good thing, but
consider yourself lucky.
For you, that would have been the one with DeMar on the cover. Because DeMar was on the cover in Canada.
Yeah, I don't think I had that one. I remember seeing the cover, but I don't think I had that one.
That was the 2K where like the my career storyline was like, oh, you're playing like at the parks, and then all of a sudden, oh, you catch an NBA scout's eye and you're in the league.
I think they just
I did have
I think
that
literally
one.
a menu came up
much,
and it was like pick what team you want to be on. And you just like picked it. Which I don't like. I liked like 16 and 17 where you would like go through like the college process and then you get drafted and you just have to figure out where you're about to get drafted to.
Yeah, I like that. It's better than just here you are, pick your team.
Yeah. I don't know. My 2K16, my player was a legend, bro. I brought good basketball back to New York. It was Eaton.
My 2K16, I think I started out in the Celtics.
Really?
And then I think I ended up – my player was like a power forward, and I think I ended up moving to like the Pacers to play with Paul George.
Wait, I think on 16, like you got drafted, but then you was like a free agent after your rookie year.
Yeah. So in my free agency, I went to Indy.
I think I might have got drafted to the Pistons. I vividly remember playing in Detroit for some reason. So I might have got drafted to the Pistons.
Then I was probably either on Philly or Boston in 2K17 as well because that was like the top like 3 picks.
17, I was with the Nuggets. And that was before Jokic was Jokic.
Yeah.
That was fun. Yeah, I was on the Nuggets with Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah.
I don't remember. Usually I just find a team that I'm like, okay, what team has a hole at my position? And then at that point, I just end up going there.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I think in 2K20, I was just point guard for the Lakers because they had LeBron, AD, they had like JaVale and Dwight at center. But they didn't have like that like one point guard. So I was like, that'll be me.
You know who I played for? The Magic.
The Magic.
Me and Aaron Gordon, like that pick and pop duo, he was averaging like 25 points a game. He was elite. And we swept the Lakers in the finals.
Only real ones remember Orange Juice though.
Best duo ever, in my opinion.
OJ. Bro, whenever they were doing those NBA 75 commercials, I was like, bruh, they got Justice Young in the NBA 75? Like, sheesh.
I was mad, though, because I think I went to the Bulls, like, after my first year, and he followed me. I'm like, bro, I don't want you following me anymore. Like, go spread your wings on your own team, man. But he followed me to the Bulls. I was kind of mad about that.
It's like James Jones and LeBron, man. He never wanted to spread his wings.
For real.
Thanks, though.
Man. Are y'all getting that new Madden? I see they trying to make some updates to the game.
Oh, are they? I haven't looked into it yet. I'm
What's
surprised I
it
haven't heard about it
to-
because my buddy just that's basically I shouldn't say it's basically all he plays, but that's his main game is Madden.
I'm talking about like 23.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I got 22 and I enjoyed it a lot. I just not enough people that I knew played it for me to like get my worth out of it.
22 was decent. I'm not like I had fun playing.
Yeah, I haven't minded it. It's been decent.
I definitely
But
played a lot more 21.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to next summer when NCAA drops.
Yeah.
I might get back into like real deal gaming when that drops for real.
Dude, so my roommate the other day, he found like his Xbox 360 and he brought it out. And so he was playing it and we was talking, we was like, hey, we gotta go hit GameStop to see if there's any like sleepers there. So we went. He ended up getting Skate 3. They had a couple games there though. They had NCAA 14 at GameStop in 2022. NCAA 14 cost $70.
For real?
No shot, man.
$70 for NCAA 14.
That's a collector's item, is what that is.
That's
Online-
because
online
it
it's even
retailed at
more
like
expensive.
40. Like literally
Online
retailed
it's
like
even more
40 or 50
expensive, man.
bucks.
Yeah. I think I got NCAA 13. That's the only one I ever like bought myself. I think I got that for like $30. Like it was on sale. I got that for $30.
I
don't
told him
know
he
if I
should have
still
bought
have
it
it, though.
because he could have flipped it on like eBay or like
Oh,
a marketplace like $200
For like double. Yeah, at least double, bro. That is so expensive online.
Yeah.
Legendary game though, man. Road to Glory is like the best career mode, like maybe other than some 2Ks. Best career mode like ever, bro.
2K in my career, they just need to change it up, bro. Like, I enjoy like the process of like getting into the league, but now they do it so many times where it's like, I want a my career where there's like a couple things you do before the draft, but then there's actually like a my career story while you're in the
In the
NBA.
league. Yeah. Facts.
Yeah.
Facts. Otherwise, it just gets too redundant.
I wish they
'cause then
did
you
like
literally get to the NBA and then it's just nothing. Then you just play a bunch of games and that's it.
yeah. I wish they did like a not like a remaster, but like something like how 2K11 was, where you went to the combine. I thought that was so dope. Like you go to the combine, but now they could probably make that like 10 times better, and just like have that be like the pre-draft stuff, like the pre-NBA stuff, instead of like some 2Ks you got to go overseas or you got to play in the G League. Like you got to do so much stuff just to get to the NBA, which is just so annoying.
Because they
Just,
got
you
the
know,
tools. They got
exactly.
like they have all the tools to make it like a combine. Because literally the neighborhood had like the workout center where you do like all the
Yeah.
exercises. You bench, you run,
Yep.
you do all that kind of stuff.
What I didn't play this year or last year, like what were the storylines even like?
I have no idea.
I'm trying to remember what it was this year. I barely got into it, but I'm pretty sure I went through the storyline. There was some amount of a combine this year, but it's very limited. Yeah, I don't.
Are you
remember-
guys on current or
remember.
next gen?
I'm on
current.
next gen.
Must be nice.
Yeah, I got that. I got that P5 and it's nice for real. But I don't get to take advantage of the 4K that often because I don't have like a 4K TV I play on. Mine's just
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't game enough now to like buy a PS5.
Yeah, I feel that. I feel like if anything, like once this console dies, I'd just get a better computer. For where
I don't
I'm
know.
at
I've been
at this point,
thinking
it's like
about
for gaming
PC.
reasons and for editing purposes and whatnot.
Exactly.
It's like yeah, I might just get 2 in 1 at some point.
I play so much video games when I'm at school, but when like during the summer, I actually kind of have a life, so I do not play as much games.
Bro, I haven't been a consistent gamer since like 2020, and that was during lockdown.
Wow, I haven't since like March.
I don't know. I just don't be having fun anymore. So I'll just be
Yeah.
like, man,
That's fair.
I got better things to
Fair.
do than just sit on the game for 5 hours at a time.
Yeah, I
I
don't
can't sit
ever
down
go
for
on
that
there.
long.
I don't ever go on there. Like before, in the past, I could just go on there by yourself and do your thing. But I don't sit down and like play a career mode or anything like that anymore. It's like if some of my friends are on, it's like yeah, okay, I'll jump on for a bit.
Yeah.
And it's just a social thing with like friends that have moved away and are no haven't seen in years. But other than that, it's like yeah, just it's not the same anymore.
Yeah, mine's either playing a game with friends or like if a new game comes out that I'm kind of excited for, I'll sit down and play that for like 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So it goes through phases. That way I don't get like tired of it or anything. It's just whenever something new and exciting comes out, then I'm on.
Dang, the last game I was excited for that I actually went and bought was, I think UFC came out, and that was actually pretty fun for a little while. That was
UFC
fun. I
games
think it
are
was
always fun, for real.
yeah, and that career mode is actually pretty fun. So like that was cool. That's the last time I was like I really went out of my way to go get a video game.
Dude, I know there's some games like I heard like WWE 2K22 I've heard is low key super fun, but I haven't played it.
I haven't played it. I haven't bought a WWE game in probably like a decade.
Hey, you ever play SmackDown versus Raw?
Bro, that was when I was a kid, like during like my like maybe age 8 to age like 11 or 12. Like that was like always my most played game.
SVR 2008.
Bro, that's the best. That's the best one. I love that because you remember how you could go into like the crowd and fight. I thought that was so dope.
Giving out sweet chin musics for days, bro. Stop
Bruh.
it.
Legendary game. Bro, when we was waiting for you to hop on the Zoom earlier, Dev brought up the GameCube, bro. You might be too young. You might be too young for that game.
You might not have experienced
Me?
that.
I'm too young. Hold up.
Buddy might be too young for the GameCube, man, because that was an era. The GameCube was an era, man.
That was an era, no doubt.
He about to
Those are
pull out
good
the
times.
GameCube. He about to pull out the GameCube. The GameCube was special. Like I didn't have a PlayStation 1 or 2 when I was a kid. I had a GameCube.
Yeah,
That's what I had.
A GameCube.
Who has
and then I
really
had a
got me
Wii.
out on the pod bringing out the Nintendo game? I'm not too young.
Mine broke when I was like 8 or 9 years old. I was so hurt. Like that. That was a dark day. That was one of the darkest days of my life because like the disc thing just wouldn't close and we couldn't fix it. So
yeah,
I was so salty.
That's big sad.
My disc drive goes through phases. I was playing Metroid Prime in like February or March. I got pretty far through it, but then my disc drive just kept going, cannot read the game. And then I'd like open it and close it real quick and start playing again. And it go like 10 minutes and then just stop again. So
I'm trying to think.
But I got like Metroid Prime. I got like Zelda Wind Waker, Mario Sunshine. My Smash Melee broke and I'm low-key sick about it.
Bro, I was about to say Mario Sunshine. That's the game I vividly remember playing the most, bro. And I don't think I ever beat the story mode, which I'm kind of mad about to this day. I don't think I ever beat the story mode. But, bro, that was such a fun game.
I would play that. But it is so good. I love it.
Do y'all remember Spyro the Dragon?
Yes.
I don't remember that one.
I used to play that.
Spyro and Crash are like that's just
Crash Bandicoot
in an era for me.
Yeah, those are like three of my just like games I used to play every day when I was a kid, man.
Those and like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater or like
Tony Hawk, yes.
My dad would let me play his PlayStation 2 in like 2005.
Yeah, my dad had a PlayStation 2 as well.
We'd be playing like the original Tomb Raider too with like Laura Croft and like the mansion. We never got past the first level because it'd be like me and my sister just not knowing anything.
Yeah. I don't think I ever played Tomb Raider. Oh, I remember there was a Dragon Ball Z game on the GameCube that was so fun. Like that was such a good story mode, man. Hey, that was an era, man. I wish I could go back to those times.
Good times.
I don't know how y'all are with the anime, but bro, I've been plotting on getting this Demon Slayer game for a minute. I cannot lie.
I'm not into anime. I watched some of Demon Slayer and it was pretty good. I just didn't continue watching it, but it was a pretty good starter anime. It was pretty solid.
Yeah,
they got a game out for it. It's fun.
Yeah, I've never watched any, but I'm indifferent to it. It's like I got enough going on. I got enough to do. I don't need something else to take up my time. But I got nothing against it. But
yes, I'm not in heavy, but that is one show that, bro.
I'm more into like I'm more into like real TV, like not real TV shows, but like series and stuff. Like
yeah,
we're watching Stranger Things.
Bro, I'm counting down the days until part 2 drops. Got like a week. I'm counting down them days, man. I was talking with my friend. I'm like, Stranger Things is low key becoming like one of like just overall one of the best series I've ever watched. It's probably top 2 for me, like just overall, like just greatness. It's between that. I don't know if y'all have ever watched Money Heist, but Money Heist is like a perfect show.
It's really good. It's really
Money
good.
Heist is amazing, bro.
Man, I don't know what my favorite show is for real.
Oh, they're not my favorites, but they're probably some of just the best overall shows. My favorite show is probably Shameless. I love Shameless. Such a good show.
I don't know, bro. There hasn't been that many like super, because I don't know, when shows just go super long, it's like I'll like watch like a season or two and then I'll just fall off.
I'm the opposite. I like when there's a lot of seasons, but not like too many, like some Grey's Anatomy shit where there's like 20 seasons.
Much, but...
Grey's Anatomy, where I swear every season it's like somebody dies.
Man,
I don't even know how they got any
is,
characters left.
Never sat down and watched that show.
No, me neither.
Never will.
But
like Shameless, when I started watching Shameless, there was like 7 seasons at the time, maybe 8, and I caught up pretty quickly because it was just that good of a show.
Yeah, no, I like it. I like a series with a bit of longevity like that. It's good.
But I also hate.
My roommate watches Breaking Bad now, and he hypes it up crazy, so I might have to watch it.
I've never heard a bad thing about that show. I've just never had the intrigue to watch it. Like, it seems cool, but I don't know. I'll pass.
Yeah, I liked it. It wasn't amazing, but it was a good show. It wasn't like, okay, this is one of the best shows I've ever watched, but it was good.
Yeah. Did y'all ever watch Walking Dead?
No.
I think I watched like 5 or 6 seasons of it, and then I just lost interest.
My dad was so into that show too.
Bro, my parents and 2 of my sisters loved that show so much. Like, they used to sit down every Sunday and watch. I'm like, yeah, y'all are insane. I watched the first 2 seasons, and I just instantly lost interest.
When they'd have like season premieres, my like dad's family would get together and have like whole like get-togethers. Like they'd be making like zombie guts out of like hamburger meat.
Oh my god!
Like they turn like some like grapes or olives or something into like eyeballs, and they just be making like some crazy stuff. That's
insane. I'm not gonna lie, that's kind of insane.
That is a lot.
They were super into it though. I cannot say I've ever been into a show that crazy. The hardest thing is usually when I catch up and then I like watch everything and then like new stuff drops and I just never get back into it.
Really? I've never had a show like that to where I don't
I
get
did it
back
with
into it after catching up.
Like I remember a couple years ago I watched like the Flash TV show. Watched like the first like 3 seasons all the way through and then like more stuff came out and I just never came back. Same thing low-key happened. I watched like the first 2 seasons of like 13 Reasons Why. Because everybody was talking about it.
Honestly, I don't blame you for not getting back into it. They stretched that shit out. I still watched it, and a couple of the seasons were okay. They stretched that shit out so much, bro. I'm like, man, season 2 probably should have been the end of it for real. But
I thought season 2 was pretty good.
Season 2 could have been it then.
It's like season 1 was obviously the peak, but season 2 was pretty good. Anything after that just looked like I don't care.
Yeah,
good call. It.
Good call.
They're doing that with that season 2 season finale. That was wild,
that shit gave me that was such a good. They just had to stretch it out, which kind of lowered the appeal of the show. I still watch it though because it's like when I start something, I feel like I have to finish it, especially if I liked it.
Yeah,
but they just like they're doing that with All American right now. That show, the first couple seasons was fine, but now they are stretching it out. It should not have made it to this point, bro. Like I'm debating on even finishing this new season because they're doing way too much, and it's so corny. It's a corny ass show, but it's cool at the same time. But it's pissing me off.
Hey, y'all seen Hustle though?
I still haven't watched it yet. I still gotta get to it.
Very good movie.
Where is Bo Cruz going in the 2022 draft? Is he going above Paolo?
The Celtics need him, bro. So we just had one show actually.
Timberwolves got a star in Kermit though. Cannot lie.
Yeah, what I love about like that movie was so good. I love seeing all the different NBA faces in there, and it was like I seen some people. I'm like, hold up, is that who I think it is?
and like Mo Wagner's in there, and I'm just like, it was just so dope to see like all of these NBA players. And obviously, with having NBA players in the movie, the basketball scenes are going to be better because every basketball movie I've ever watched, the scenes are so corny. But it wasn't the case with this movie. And Adam Sandler is like a legend. Like Adam Sandler is that guy.
That was one of his best performances, though, because he was low-key, like, one of those actors that got to the point where it's like he just be playing the same role in every movie.
Yes.
But he was actually putting in, like, a super good performance in this. And then just, like, that's so crazy that, like, everybody played themselves. The funniest thing is, like, I kept seeing, like, Matisse Thybulle, and I'm like, bro, who is that? Why can I not think of what his name is? And then it gets to the credits, and it's like, Matisse Thybulle as himself, and I'm like, oh, my God.
Bro, it was Matisse. Chris Middleton had a little cameo. Kyle Lowry had a few lines in there.
Yeah.
The only person that wasn't themselves was obviously Juancho and
Kenny wasn't.
Yeah, and Kenny Smith. That was funny that Kenny Smith actually had like a big part in the movie, bro. he did a good job. I didn't know he had any like acting desires, but he did a really good job though. Did a really good job. Yeah, definitely watch that when you get the chance.
Just so
Yeah,
funny, bro.
sure.
On that old lady bitch.
the thing, and I keep seeing it on Twitter. They're like, bro, Ant probably didn't have any lines. He was just being himself.
No.
I'm like, yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, I know. They were like, the director was probably like, bro, great scene. And they was probably like, wait, we were filming?
Yeah. What's crazy is they were saying, I think Adam Sandler was saying like how close Ant and Juancho actually were because they were on the same team. I think Ant's rookie year, so it's like they had kind of already like a little bit of chemistry in that aspect. So I'm like, that's pretty dope. Really good movie, man. I enjoyed it. I would probably watch it again if I, chose to. I could probably get through it.
It's because I kind of just like had it on while I was doing stuff, so I gotta like go back and like watch it like super paying attention. But like every time I tap in, I'm like, this is good.
It was pretty good, man.
Yeah, but Bo Cruz he's probably going number 1 overall over Paolo.
Bo Cruz.
I feel like Bo Cruz, tall, can shoot. He's magically
playmaker. Defensively, he's elite. Nobody can score on him. Nobody can hit the rim on him.
Elite at everything. Another foreign player to fit next to their core, man. Because they have Vooch in there forever, man. So they could use a nice little foreign big man like Bo.
Nah, for real. Shoot, what y'all got? What y'all got in the plans for the next week or so, man?
Studying and making videos, and that's about it, I think. Got a midterm on Thursday, and otherwise, it just living up the draft content, and then free agency still doesn't have an official start time, which is absurd. But it's rumored. It's rumored to be Thursday night at 6 p.m. I think it's 6 p.m. EST, but that's just based off last year. So we don't actually know when free agency is yet, which is quite funny.
I'm about to just be working this week for real. Just go through it. Enjoy the next long weekend next weekend.
Yeah, same. I get home Monday. Probably I'm going to go straight back to work. I already told you, Gabe, bro. They finessed me into writing another article, man. I'm not mad about it. Salty.
I had to edit your article about the Columbus thing, the food.
Bro, that article is so old. That was my second article I turned in this past semester.
Why did it just get? That's so weird.
It's an evergreen story, ones that will be good anytime, I guess. Which they were asking me questions, and I'm just like, I don't have my notes with me, so I don't really know. Like, I just kind of gave answers that I could find on the website. I'm like, I don't really know. They got me writing another article, and I'm just like, I haven't wrote something in so long, so be ready to edit it, bro. That's all I'm gonna tell you. Be ready to make some real edits.
I was really about to say that because I was editing it, and usually when I look at your stuff, like there's really not much I got to do. It's usually pretty clean, but that's where I'm like, bruh, there's low-key a couple of things that I had to change, and I'm like, now it makes sense that it was your second ever story.
Yeah, facts. Man, but yeah, this next one might be a little sketchy too, man. I'm just gonna give you a heads up. I got an interview for it, I think Tuesday, because that's the only day I'm free this week. So yeah,
it might be on Budget Wednesday then. We'll see.
Probably.
because the place is opening up today. Yeah, they opened up today. So yeah.
On a
Yeah, I
Saturday?
think-
That's crazy.
Yeah, I think Phoebe asked me. She was like, because I told her like, yeah, this place DM the Lantern page. She's like, oh, cool. She's like, would you like to write on it? I'm like, I guess, sure. If we don't have anybody else, I guess I'll get another article under my wing for sure.
Bro got finesse.
I did. I got real deal finesse, man. I should have said no, but I guess, man.
That's wild. On vacation, still never stops. They love to see it.
Never. I was on. Y'all saw me on stream. I was posting stuff for the Lantern at the same time. Like
On
legit.
stream, bro.
Grind does not
Had
stop.
to get stuff ready
Feel
for
that,
the
man.
Lantern. Had to get stuff ready for halftime hoops. Had to
Busy.
do
Just
your
a
own
busy
stuff. It's
man.
I feel
Facts.
that. Doesn't feel right to not be on the grind sometimes. It's just how it is.
Right. Real talk. Every time I'm not doing something, I feel like, man, somebody's outworking me somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel that.
Yeah.
I feel that. Thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of 3 Point Weekly. Be sure to let us know your thoughts on the draft and any free agency predictions you have down below in the comments. Thank you guys again for tuning in another week. Peace.